please like, subscribe, and comment, even if it's just with an emoji. It's a free way for you to support the channel, and for me, it might bring in some money from all the commercials they keep putting on my videos. Or if you're feeling super generous, check out my Patreon or Ko-fi. I've got links in the description, or you can hit the Money Heart Thanks button down below. Hey, this is the Sword and the Pen Reflections, and we're doing a live stream here. We can talk about anything, The Last of Us, Wheel of Time, Andor, Severance. I'm up for anything. I've pretty much gotten back from The Last of Us and like decompressed from that whole deal. But anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that it's still okay to talk about it. But also, if we want to chat about other stuff, that is good too. In the meantime, we're going to play the usual game of me trying to read everybody's messages as fast as I possibly can. So I'm going to get a head start on that right away. Let me know if my sound is okay. I know that the beginning animation and how I sound on the microphone might be off balance. So if that is the case, let me know. I've done my best to even them out, but you never can tell. Sometimes you get on and you're just like, I have no idea if people can hear me. So here we go. So let's see. First one is from, why is it not showing? Chandu Manoj or Manoj. I'm not sure how to say that. Can't wait for the context blind commentary and misguided dissections. All right. Well, I mean, maybe there'll be some, maybe there won't. We'll see. Summit says, is it stream time or have I been confused by time zones again? Nope. I was late. I was running about 5 minutes late, just trying to figure out, like, I'm not sure if I got my phone on silent. I was trying to figure out because I did an update and now everything's in different places. I hate when that happens. Okay. Kiltmanator. Kiltmanator is talking to Summit. Winter Rose. Hey, Amber and everyone. Hello, Winter Rose. Good to see you again. Silence Game. I'm Pacific Northwest. Oh, okay. So you got, yeah, so trying to figure out where you are. I was just up in that area. Let's see. Winter Rose is talking to somebody else. Summit. Woohoo. Hello. Mr. Fan of Gem. I mean, I recognize your profile picture, but I'm not sure I recognize the name. You must have changed your name. Let's see. Oh, just saying hello all. Summit. Hey, YouTube even sent me the reminder email. Hooray. They send emails? I thought it's just a little notification. But anyway, I haven't seen it in a while. Dane Barnhold, sweet shirt. Thank you very much. Summit. Sounds good. Summit. Intro was a bit louder, but nothing egregious. That's what I like to hear. It's probably going to sound better just because I come and go from the microphone like that anyway. And the intro is like perfectly set up so that it's good sound. But yeah. Let's see. Sam's House 123. How about Flowers in the Attic? The best series ever. Would love to hear what you think. Flowers in the Attic. I am not familiar with Flowers in the Attic. What is Flowers in the Attic? Someone's going to have to tell me about that one. Silence Game says, I like your hairstyle today. Well, thank you. Usually I do curl it up, but it was my nephew's birthday this weekend. And so I'm a little burned from being outside yesterday. And I'm like, I'm just going to relax a little bit today. So that's why I didn't put any effort into the curls. My hair is naturally curly though. Why is the style of this thing all weird? I usually like the bubbles. There we go. And the color's all off. Give me that pinkish purple. Don't worry, I won't make everybody be pink, but let's do purple. Pink's not even the color I really like, but I like that. There we go. It's like between the two colors that I have behind me, like the blue and the pink. So purple. Okay, back to comments. Summit is talking to Sam's House, talking about book or film or both. Flowers in the Attic. Is it just me or is this an Asian story? Sounds like it. Maybe I'm totally off. Both, baby, please. I love them all. Okay, now I got to look it up. I'm just going to look it up on my computer really quick. Flowers in the Attic. Oh gosh, is this a horror? It looks like it's a horror. I see that there was a Blu-ray that just recently came out or something. 1979 Gothic novel by V.C. Andrews. It is the first book of the Dollenganger series. Is that how you say that? I don't know this one. I don't think I've ever even heard of it. I haven't heard of the writer either. What else has she written? Let's see. Bibliography. Petals in the Wind, If There Be Thorns, My Sweet Audrina, Seeds of Yesterday, Heaven, Dark Angel. I mean, these sound like very these sound like gothic romance stories just from the title. Project. Okay, so I do want to finish up the stuff that I promised I would do in The Last of Us. I'm just not prioritizing it as a big thing. But I have a lot of Wheel of Time fans, and I did not finish my reviews of the episodes. They're not going to be as in depth. I've made notes for my episode, was it 7? Episode 7 review, just trying to make them a bit shorter. So folks aren't quite familiar. My Wheel of Time videos have a lot of goofy clips and things in there. And it takes a very long time to edit them. They're about as long as my my Last of Us videos, except that I really go heavy into the editing to kind of punch it up and make it funny. But I'm not doing that, and I'm also shortening them a bit. I just want to get through them because I think people are done with the IP. It's a ridiculous IP. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with liking something that's ridiculous or has flaws. I've said this to many people in my comments about The Last of Us. It's totally fine to love this series and really feel for it and really enjoy the story that is being told. I'm just not one of those people who is able to look past the flaws when they get to a certain point. And so that's what I talk about. And then I'll make fun of it just to make it a more enjoyable experience for myself. But there's plenty of absolute garbage that I really enjoy, stuff that's not very good, but I still love it. And I mean, I will die on the hill that Star Trek The Next Generation is the best. And I know that there's a lot of trash in The Next Generation. I still love it. I still think it's fantastic. I still think it's like one of the best Star Treks ever. And I cannot find anybody who is able to emulate that with the exception of some parts of the Orville. Just take the humor out and you've almost got it. But yeah, you can totally love something that has flaws, and don't ever let somebody's opinion of a story affect your opinion. That's just silly. I mean, you're allowed to like whatever you like. I love chocolate ice cream. I do not understand people who love strawberry ice cream. I mean, I can kind of go, all right, sure, fine, whatever. But I'm like, just go eat a strawberry. Anyway, let's see. Peyton V says, where would you take the story of The Last of Us Part 3? Would you bring back Abby? Would you have a new protagonist? Well, I mean, are they going to do a part 3, or are they going to do The Last of Us The Other Side, or, you know, some other story? I think I would leave the original story. I would have left the original story alone, but I would leave what's there alone, because they seem to want to take what they've already done and then go deeper into it or recontextualize it, do all kinds of things with the material that's already there. And what that does is it takes away the ability of the audience to have their own idea of what it means. So a lot of folks really enjoyed the ending of The Last of Us Game 1 because that ending was ambiguous and they were able to believe what they wanted to about it. But then in Game 2, they said, okay, Abby thinks that what Joel did is wrong. And then people were going, well, wait, does he think that the lying was the thing that was wrong, or saving him was wrong? It seems like she was pretty upset that he saved her because she said, I was supposed to die. You took that from me, all of this. And we didn't believe that because we ourselves were not everybody. Sorry, I should say not everybody believes that, because not everybody looked at the ending of Game 1 and thought that what Joel did was wrong. And so there was a lot of people upset about just that one decision in Game 2. So I think that they should tell a totally different story. They should tell, maybe, you know what would be really cool? A story about like an island that did not get the virus at all, but now they're reaching a point where they've populated too much or something, and they're going, okay, we have to actually go out more and reconquer parts of the world so that we can have agriculture outside of just our own island. I mean, I'm thinking like Japan would be perfect. I mean, a small place like Hawaii would be cool. Just think of a small place where humanity can continue to thrive without cordyceps, but they've reached a stage now where they're going, this is not sustainable. the way that we are right now. We cannot, like, we're too many people on this island. We need to go and conquer more land. I think that would be so cool. There'd be like whole wars. They'd have to form an army and like, I don't know. But see, I don't know about stories in games. I don't know how to apply a story to a game. I have ideas, but I haven't played enough to know if they'll actually work. For me, that would be an interesting story. But okay, let's keep going. I'm sorry, I always do this. I fall behind and then I have to catch up. Winter Rose says, for Halloween last year, you asked for costume pictures of us. Did you ever do anything with them? If so, I missed it. So I only got like 7 or 8 people sending me photos, and I felt like that would be too singling out. Like it would just be that. But what I plan to do is, you know what? I should have thought of this more. Call for pictures of Halloween costumes this year and then do my live stream on that, because then I can take the pictures from last year and this year and put them together and put them out there. But I really love that. I love Halloween costumes. I love dressing up for Halloween. I love all that stuff. I'm so into it. And my sister and I were going to go through everybody's costumes and like judge them in a friendly, fun way. Not, to put anybody down, but just to have fun with it. And we just didn't have enough submissions. So it would be too weird to like, here's 7 people who sent me their submissions. And some of them were of their kids, which I would blur out the face, obviously, because you don't want to put kids online, but which I'm fine with. I had my niece and nephew submitting their pictures for that to try to add to the numbers, but it still wasn't enough. It was too weird to have only a few people. But that's a good point, Winter Rose. I should definitely, I'm going to talk about it with my sister, because this is something I really want to do with her, because she and I have the same mindset like this. We love Halloween costumes. The costume for my niece is going to be amazing this year. We're dressing her up like Porco Rosso. If anybody knows Ghibli movies, Porco Rosso is one of the more obscure Miyazaki movies. It's not a popular one. It follows a World War I pilot who saw the afterlife and gets punished by being turned into the face of a pig. It's the hardest one, I think, for kids to really get into. It is my 2-year-old niece's absolute favorite of all the Miyazakis. She loves Piggy Man, Porco. She knows all the names of all the characters, even the ones it's the one I know the least. She knows all of them. She sleeps with a little Porco Rosso doll that she will be depressed for days if she doesn't have it. She left it at the park a couple of days ago. And when we brought her to the babysitter, she could not stop talking about her Porco Rosso doll. And thankfully somebody found it and put it on top of one of the playground things. We took her to the park first. Somebody left it on top of the playground apparatus or whatever, and just left it there. And so we took a picture to send to the babysitter, show her this so she knows we found it. We're not sure if she understood, because there's a picture of it, that means we found it. She's still too young to kind of comprehend that stuff. Okay, anyway, sorry. But yeah, I want to do her costume. She's going as Porco Rosso. We're getting her a little red plane and everything. I want to take pictures of that. She's going to be so cute. Sorry. Have I seen K-pop Demon Hunter? As of 2 days ago, yes, I have, because my nephew really wanted me to see it. He loves it. I thought it was good. I mean, it's definitely a little too much it's got that feeling of things flying into your screen really quickly and being pop and, I don't know how to describe it very well, but it gave me, and I'm not trying to say this in a disparaging way, but it gave me TikTok vibes, and that was hard for me to swallow. But if I take all of that out, I actually really like the story. I think it's a nice, very simple story about forgiveness and acceptance, and about trusting your friends and opening up to them, not holding things back. Like, they're all good messages. I really like it. And I thought the animation was really appealing. I really liked that animation. I thought it was going to bother me, but I was like, this is nice. I like this. It kind of feels like stop motion, but it looks a lot prettier. So I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Mother locks her children in an attic for years to gain an inheritance. Oh, that's what the Flowers in the Attic is about. That's horrible. That is horrible. That reminds me of that Kirsten Dunst movie where like all the daughters, the virgin suicides. I think that reminds me of that. Is that what it's like? Oh, it's terrible. I'm not usually into that kind of dark stuff. I'll check it out. Like I had to study a lot of that in school, but I'll check it out for that. But I don't know if I'll watch it for my own pleasure. Let's see. Summit. TNG is only the best because you've never watched DS9. I have watched DS9. I've watched it. I enjoy DS9, but definitely TNG is still my favorite. And I like the open focus on philosophy and morality that it really does not shy away from in many episodes. Tahoe, Ria, Nevada. Are you on Twitch? No. I mean, I twitch a lot sometimes because I might have got little flimsies of hair that keep going into my face like this. It tickles me, but no, I don't know what Twitch is. I know it's some sort of a streaming thing. If it's easy, if I can stream to Twitch as easily as I can to YouTube, like if I could do it all at the same time, I'd totally do it. I mean, why not? More exposure, I guess. Three Eyes. Hi, love the Last of Us videos, and I appreciate the good-natured way you engage with my disagreements. Well, thank you, Three Eyes. I love engaging with people who disagree with me. Because here's the way I see it. If I say, this is what I think about this thing, and somebody says, oh, you're wrong about that, I want you to tell me why I was wrong, because then I can see where was I wrong, and then that helps me to improve my own opinion, my own analytical skills. When somebody challenges your opinion or your analysis it has to be with proof, because I'm not going to just, go by somebody's interpretation. I know I've threw this out there a lot with people that, look, you can't just tell me this is how I interpreted something, because that's literally just your interpretation. You have to show me some concrete evidence. And maybe that's drilled into me, not only because that's how it is when you're studying literature in college. You have to show concrete evidence behind your interpretations of the literature that you're consuming. But I just don't find it convincing without something like that. But I love to have those conversations and debate about what something is supposed to mean. And I think it makes us all better storytellers if we get good at doing this sort of thing. Let's see. Alvaniel. That's a very cool name. Did you make that up, or is that your real name? Despite The Walking Dead doing such a thing poorly, I would love to see how other parts of the world are faring. Yes, me too. Or at least the UK. It can't be that much different than regular life there. Oh, that's terrible. I almost went to the UK last year. I ended up having to go to Alaska for a family emergency instead. I've got some friends there. If you go and check out The Geeky Old Hog, it is a channel that talks about, comic books. And it's just so fun. It's a very cozy channel. If you want the cozy, fun channel, go check out The Geeky Old Hog. I used to do the Hogcast is what he called it. It was a bi-weekly podcast live stream. Or no, we didn't do it live. You get the idea. It was a podcast. Lots of different shows that we did together there. I love those guys. I miss chatting with them all the time. We still chat with each other on WhatsApp all the time, though. The Last of Us, Middle Earth. I would watch that. What? Oh, in the UK, I get it. Sometimes I'm slow to get the jokes because I get wrapped up in my own thoughts and I have to re-zero in. Like, what are we talking about again? CW. YouTube notified me 8 minutes late. Oh no! I'm sorry. Well, you haven't missed a whole lot. You know what you can do? Go back and watch it in 2 times or 3 times speed, and you'll get caught up pretty soon. Lori, hey, hi, hello. Oh, a green heart. I like that. Lori says, how is your fur baby doing? Oh, Sorsha is great, but fat. She's great in the fat sense. She's doing really good. Her eye is in excellent condition. You really can't even tell that she's had surgery at all. The day after she got it, you could not see it. You had to look really close and like examine to see, oh, that's not fur sticking out. Those are stitches. But now she doesn't have any signs of having had like literally an entire chunk of her eye taken out. It was like, imagine your eyelid taking a pizza slice out and then stitching the 2 sides together. That's what they did to her. And you can't tell. It's amazing. I've had surgical procedures before and I have huge scars. So I'm like, why didn't I get somebody who was as careful as my dog's eye surgeon? Let's see. Tahoe, Rhea, Nevada. Let's see. If that's the scenario, deserts would be ideal. Low moisture, harder for fungus to populate. That is very true. Arizona would be an oasis for humans. And you know what? Actually, it's not that. It'd be like a berry. So if you have an oasis where there actually is water, but all around it is desert, you could be safe in the middle as long as nobody crosses that desert. I like that. Cakes. I see so much senseless toxicity in online discussions about the games. Even though I love game 2, I still love your reviews on part 1 and 2. Well, thank you. I'm so glad. I do poke fun at, and I get very critical of the story. And I know I said this already, but nobody should ever change your mind about loving the game. I totally can see how people would love it and be fully immersed in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. As I said, I am totally in love with plenty of crap. The people in my Discord know the show of my shameful pleasure, I guess. You guys could talk about it. Let's see. Summit. Is that the pig pilot? Yes. Porco Rosso is the pig pilot, the World War I pig pilot in Italy. Well, anyway, it's an imaginary archipelago. Anyway, we'll keep going. You get the idea. It's imaginary. Kiltmanator. Kiltmanator. You're killing me. Let's see. Have you read or seen sci-fi series The Expanse? And would you consider it for future projects? The show is pretty faithful, but strays in interesting ways. I have the first book. And I mean, I have read the first book. I have not watched the show beyond maybe a couple of episodes. I keep starting it and then stopping. But I did the same thing to Andor, and I really enjoyed Andor. I just had to have somebody tell me, watch past this point. No one told me. When you watch Andor, you must watch the first 3 episodes. You have to force yourself to do those first 3 episodes. No one told me that. I just watched the first 2 and I was like, oh, story's slow. I don't know if it'll ever catch up. I wish I'd stuck around for one more episode because it was so worth the build up to that 3rd episode. And then I was like, okay, I believe you. This show is one that just a slow build for 2 episodes and then bam, climax, and then slow build for another 2 and then bam, climax. And those climaxes feel more earned because it took its time to build up the emotional stakes that make action feel more important than just the action that's happening. Let's see. So yes, I would like to do the Expanse. Sorry, sometimes I don't answer the question, and I don't mean to do that. I just like, I think I just answered it, and I go. I'm going back. Would I do the Expanse? Yeah, a lot of people in my Discord want me to look at the Expanse, and it is one that I keep on going back to. Going, I know I need to watch this. Like Silo, I watched multiple episodes of Silo after people were pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and that was worth it. I haven't watched all of Silo yet, but I know it's good. I can tell just from what I've seen so far that I should really sit down and watch this whole thing. I have not a whole lot of free time. So when I say I really want to do it, that means I definitely really want to do it. I just don't know when I can get to it. Sounds like your niece is on the right track. Yes. Okay. Anybody who is raising babies. So if there's a lot of new people, I think, who came to me with The Last of Us, but folks who were with me for Shadow and Bone and The Wheel of Time and all that other stuff. I moved in with my siblings to take care of their kids because my sister's in medical school, which she's almost done. So I've basically been taking care of my brand new baby niece. She's now 2, but I've been taking care of her since she was born. And myself and my siblings, we all made a concerted effort. Well, my sister and her husband, the effort was, we're never going to let her get into something that we can't stand having on over and over and over again in the house. So we started out with Hey Bear, which is just little dancing fruits when she was too little to know anything. And we were just like, okay, I really need to like go to the bathroom and I need something to keep her occupied while I run to the bathroom. Set her in her chair, Hey Bear's on, go to the bathroom, come back. That's it. And as soon as she was starting to want more in storytelling, it was a little bit of, what do you call it? Bluey, which I love Bluey. I didn't know that there could be a children's show that would make me cry, but there is. Bluey was excellent. And then we went from that to Ghibli, straight to Ghibli, because I can watch any Ghibli movie over and over again and still enjoy it. We started with, it wasn't Ponyo, it was Totoro. Totoro was the first one. And then she liked Ponyo and then Kiki's Delivery Service. But as soon as Piggy Man came on, that was the end for her. She's like, this is it. This is the only one she wants to watch is Piggy Man. So I know that movie inside and out now. But yeah, kids don't have to watch stuff that current day kids are watching, which is mostly obnoxious stuff as far as I've seen. Let's see. Albert Smith III. I love your Last of Us breakdowns as well. I'd get excited to see new videos being uploaded. If you're looking for a new watch, the Telltale Walking Dead has an excellent story. I watched the old the original. I don't know if I know there's a bunch of different Walking Deads. I've watched the original, not all the way through, but obviously at least 1 or 2 seasons. And I like what it's doing. Zombies are definitely, though, not something I gravitate to. I kind of like variety. So I've been doing zombies for a while now. I think I want to go into a different thing. I'm definitely interested in comparing Foundation to the book, which it's very different. And the show started out so good. Season 1 I enjoyed. Season 2 was all right. Season 3 it's better than I think season 2, but it's still very odd. I'm not sure what they're doing, but also I just love Lee Pace, because in an alternate universe, we were supposed to get married, but he's in this universe and he's happily a gay married man. So that didn't happen. But anyway, let's see. If you need a narrative cleanser, I recommend Frieren. I have watched Frieren, not all the way to the end. I started I was using it as a palate cleanser while I was watching. I think it was while I was watching The Wheel of Time season 3. So I every once in a while I have to gravitate, or I have to latch onto a palate cleanser to help me like get an IP out of my head, and that was one of them. I did Frieren. And I like the vibes in that. And if you haven't seen Natsume, if you like Frieren, give Natsume a try. There's a ton of episodes, and it's very, very similar vibes. It is called, I can't remember what the Japanese name for it. Iyashike anime, which is like meant to cause healing in somebody who watches it. So if you're watching it, it is supposed to have a healing effect on your mind and your body. Try Natsume. It's very similar in those vibes, and it falls into that same genre. Silence Game. Have you seen Titanic or The Notebook? Of course I've seen Titanic. I saw Titanic in theaters for $3.50 because that was the price of tickets when it came out. I remember all of my friends, we went to go see Titanic, and we got there like an hour early, expecting there to be a huge line, and there wasn't, which I was surprised, because back then people would line up to go see movies like that. And we felt so lucky, but I was so excited because I had $5, so I got to see Titanic, and then I also got to buy some gum, which was, it's always been that the snacks are very expensive. That's always been the case. It's not new. Aaron Griffin, are you going to do any more playthrough views like Expedition 33 or Fallout? I might do Fallout because I really enjoyed the show. And I know that the game and the show, like, they're not the same. I know that it's the same world, but they didn't have a story in Fallout that they decided to, like, oh, we're going to follow this character. And I'm just interested to see how they represented the world. So that one would definitely be one I'd be interested in checking out. Praterzen, could never get into Trek because I can't possibly buy us getting into a utopia from where we are now, especially now. I think that aiming for the ideal and the hopeful should always be what our goal is, though, to always aim for something better than what we are. Like, even I say this all the time, that stories can never be perfect. They can't. There's always room for improvement. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to get it as perfect as you can. And at one point, you just say, okay, I've gotten this as good as I can without driving myself insane, then I will publish it. So as far as Trek is concerned, I like it because I love the idea of us reaching a state of utopia like that, but still realizing that there are challenges we may need to face simply because we are human. And this is why I love the Q character. Only the TNG version. Only TNG Q. That is canon Q. No other kind of Q exists. Sorry. I've seen what he does in DS9, and I've seen what he does in Voyager, and I've seen what he does in Picard. That's not Q. Just so you know. The prologue of Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is top-notch storytelling. Oh, really? send me a message or an email to remind me of that, and I will check it out, because I was very impressed with just the intro of The Last of Us. I thought that's very good, very efficient, immersive storytelling, and I love immersive storytelling like that. The Last of Us game intro, I thought the show did a decent job too. And Severance has a whole episode and a half that is fully immersive. You are in the position of the main character. You know as much as the main character does, which creates this wonderful sense of wonder at what the world is and excitement to learn more about it. Let's see. Oh, Apollo Valjean, Jimmy, thank you very much. £5. I think, did I get that right? Is that what that pound sign is? Sometimes I just brain fart. What is what? Thank you so much. And you are already a patron, so double thank you. I think you got my message, right? About my credits. I've got you in there as Jimmy. So if you look on my credits, folks, this is Jimmy. How does my arrow? There you go. That's Jimmy. That's Jimmy in my credits. David Zambrano. Hello. Summit. That's all. I didn't mean to just hello and dead. Hello. That's all I've got to say. Hi. Summit. I miss the Hogcast. They don't do it without you anymore. Well, they don't do it at all. We've been hounding Geeky Ol' Hog to do it some more, and he has a grandbaby now who he is fully dedicated to, which I totally understand. So it's been too much for him. And I think he's also been very sad that there hasn't been a whole lot of great material in the area of comic book adaptations, and that's been depressing for him. And he just wants to get back to having more fun stuff to talk about. And he's really enjoying his comic book reviews. And unfortunately, I don't really read comics much. The last time I've read comics was I read Death Note as it was being released. And when Death Note, the manga, was being published in Japan, and then you could get illegal scans of it here in the US, I was one of those people downloading the illegal scans because I was so into it. It was so good. I wish we would get a really good English adaptation of that, because I think it would kill, pun intended, as a thriller. Prater Zin, you absolutely need to react to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Okay, guys, just send me an email. My email address is in the description of all my videos. Defeaterator, I hope I got that right. Porco Rosso is great, an all-timer. It absolutely is. And in case folks were wondering, you'll see what the origin of the name of the Studio Ghibli, is from that movie. CW, one thing I never hear about The Last of Us, because I guess it could be nitpicky. Oh, sorry, sometimes I read things weird. Is how do they still have gasoline and bullets 20 years later? I doubt they'd be able to acquire the required raw material. I do wish that they would do a little more world building exploration and answer some of those questions, because I have the same questions. Finding gasoline in people's cars is silly, but whatever. I mean, if it's a little thing like that, I can like, oh, fine. You do it too many times, though, with different things, and eventually I'll be like, okay, this world is just ridiculous. But I'm sure that people could come up with something. Can't think of anything right now, but you get what I mean. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, and as for making bullets, I guess they could melt stuff down. It's actually not that hard to make bullets. It's hard to make bullets that won't jam your gun or damage your gun. So how do I know? I come from a family that knows about these things. Let's see. Sam's house. Let's see. Did you ever watch Sapphicated? The boat scene is better than you think. I did. I watched that one. I watched actually many videos by Sapphicated. And I like, okay, the thing that was revealing about those videos, sorry if I'm touching the microphone, is that I totally get that the writers and creators of the games have put a ton of thought into the symbolism and the moments and what they mean for these characters. Like an individual scene by itself, just isolated with nothing else around it, can be amazing. And I can tell they put a ton of work into those scenes. My problem was with all of them working together and then the story as a whole. So I don't disagree with anything that Sapphic8 had said in the videos I saw. I don't disagree with anything. My problem was with other things. Yeah, but those were great. Those were excellent videos. If you guys haven't seen them and you like The Last of Us, or even if you don't, it's a good way to watch it and have a new appreciation for the effort that was put into the show or in the games. You know what I mean? I'm not used to reviewing games. It's going to be in my head a show because it was shown to me. Defeaterator, I've been done with Star Wars for a long time, but I'm glad to hear people liked it. Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars, I really enjoyed Andor. And I feel like it's not even part of the Star Wars universe, but somehow it also is. If you don't like Star Wars and that's why you're not watching Andor, you're maybe missing out on something that is right up your alley. Maybe give it a try. Like I said, 3 episodes to start. Got to watch them all. Can't stop at 2. I did. I watched the first 2 episodes maybe, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 times. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to push through this. And I just wish somebody told me to watch episode 3. I just wish. I would have been watching it while everybody else was. I would have been on the edge of my seat waiting for the next episode. Apollo Valjean, you told me to force myself through that first 3 episodes. I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, you got to do that. HN, nice haircut. Thank you. I did get it cut finally. I didn't realize, but I hadn't done anything to my hair in a whole year. Like I get my hair cut or whatever, like twice a year, but for some reason I went a whole year with not doing anything. Defeaterator, is Silo the one where they are in an underground bunker, unsure if the outside is deadly? That is it. That is the one. Defeaterator, at 3, she watches Lord of the Rings Extended. Huh? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, at my niece when she's 3. Oh my gosh, am I that far behind in all these comments? Yeah, she probably will. No, I actually started playing the music to Hobbiton for her. You know what I mean? The music that they play in Hobbiton, da 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 da, which is so pretty. Because she listens to the soundtracks of all the Ghibli movies and loves them, and she likes to recite, or in her muddled 2-year-old English that is only discernible to those of us who can understand it immediately around her. She'll describe what's happening in the scenes as the music is playing. So I play that music whenever I have to drive her anywhere. It's really lovely music. The Joe Hisaishi is the composer for most of the Ghibli movies, and I think all of the Miyazaki movies. Just beautiful music. I've heard a lot of positive about the game Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Okay, guys, send me the name like in my emails and I'll check it out. I promise. I'll check out at least the intro. Have you played this? What's your thoughts on the story? I haven't played it. No thoughts, therefore. Cakes. Loved that you caught the Princess Mononoke reference in your reviews of The Last of Us 2. That movie was my childhood favorite. It is my favorite of all the Miyazaki movies, by far. I think it is one of the best fantasy epics ever. Just very simple, very... the one thing that Miyazaki does not do well is ending his stories. I think they all feel rushed. And that was one that also does this, but probably the least offensive out of all of his movies, maybe except for Kiki's Delivery Service. That was a pretty good ending. So, but yeah, I love Princess Mononoke. It's so good. So good. I actually would go see that in theaters if it came out, like a replay or whatever. You know what I mean? I went to go see The Lord of the Rings recently in theaters. So worth it. I should go. I'm going to go every year now and watch that one. It's just so good. I was one of those people who lined up and saw it in the midnight releases, the Lord of the Rings when they came out. I was one of them. Same thing with the Harry Potter movies when those came out. Let's see. LA. Oh, I would love your thoughts on Clair Obscura. Okay. Let's see. Bree, if you continue video games, the Plague Tale games are great. I think they're making a TV show too. It's basically inspired by The Last of Us, but it's a girl and her brother surviving the plague. Is it a zombie plague or is it just the plague that kills everybody? That's interesting. And is it historical? See, I'd love to see one. I want to see, okay, that Korean show that I heard about, it's called The Kingdom or something like that. And it's basically zombies, but in ancient Korea. I think that sounds really cool. It's like when Cowboys versus Aliens came out, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted. A sci-fi that takes place in history, like, aliens invading. And it was nothing like what I was hoping it would be. It didn't go anywhere I was hoping. I would love to see that. But yeah, so the Kingdom, I'm very interested in that. I've only seen, I think, the first half of the first episode, and then I somehow didn't continue it, but very interested in seeing that too. CW, one's reach should exceed one's grasp. Yes, this is that. I think I know what you're referencing there. You're talking about when I was saying that perfection is unattainable, but you should always pursue it to the best of your ability. Just don't go nuts doing it. Prater's yeah, but I enjoy a piece of media. You need to be able to suspend disbelief, and with Trek, I can't. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. I'll never believe beaming. Never. I think that if your body gets disintegrated like that, you're dead. I don't think just because it gets materialized somewhere else, that doesn't. Sorry, what happens to your consciousness? Does it go too? Yeah. Let's see. Geekazon Merch Hub. Expedition 33 is on 3 of the best story games I've ever played. It's so good. Again, everybody's talking about the show. Okay, their game. One of you send me that email. Richard Jeffries. It was like the Jerry Seinfeld. Hello. You know what's funny? I don't know what you're talking about there, but anytime somebody says hello, I think of Robin Williams playing Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello. Ricky says, if you are interested in crime dramas, you should check out Yakuza Like a Dragon games. Yakuza Like a Dragon games. Oh, it's a game. Okay. I had to sit there for a second. They have dumb moments, but the characters themselves are the main thing. Yeah, every story is going to have dumb moments, but that'd be interesting. There's a Ghosts of Tsushima or something like that. That just the artwork of that, I'm so fascinated with. I was studying Neolithic Japan, and it's just so fascinating. And the rise of Shintoism in Japan, I love it. I'm so interested in history and other cultures, and I'll just become a total cinephile if that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, or like I'm going to go into like Celtic history and I'm going to be like really obsessed with that. Usually lasts a couple of years. My fascination with Shintoism it never seemed to die for some reason. I just have always, if you bring it up, I will be into it. Let's see. But Yakuza Like a Dragon. Haven't heard of that one. Geekazon Merch Hub. That's Claire Obscure, same game. Okay. What's the same game? Expedition 33 must be the same. That must be what you're talking about. Oh yeah, you're continuing your thing from earlier. Got it. Okay. Potatoes. I am moaning at him a lot. Moaning at. Oh, it's you. It's Taters. Hey. So I think I've asked you before. I've asked you, are you Taters from Geek Old Hog? And I think you said no, or you teased me and I didn't get it. I'm sorry. This is my friend Taters from the Geeky Old Hog Hogcast over in England, all the way across the pond. How's it going? I do miss the Hogcast a lot. I wish we could talk more. We need to pressure him more. Maybe if we go and hound his videos with a bunch of comments, like if everybody in my comments goes and leaves comments on his most recent video saying, do a Hogcast, maybe he'll do it. Should totally do that. Maybe think about that. I'm not going to ask people to go do stuff like that. I think that's a little silly, but maybe if you want to. Let's see. Tahoe Raya, Nevada. Speaking of other video game stories to dissect, have you watched God of War? Nope. I think you'd like it. That one has been suggested to me a lot. This other one, this Claire something Expedition 33, that one I've never heard of. Nobody's ever mentioned it before, until at least that I have read, until these comments here. But God of War, a lot of people said I should check that one out. Stalin approves 55G. What a name for your profile. Man, if you love The Last of Us, I'm pretty sure you would love The Walking Dead, the game by Telltale. Oh, it's a game. Okay. I mean, I've seen the show The Walking Dead, but I didn't know there was a game. I'm not surprised. That seems like, yep. Biodiesel. Oh, you're talking about what would survive in the apocalypse? Gas or natural gas? All this stuff. How far behind am I in my comments? Oh my gosh, I must be so far behind. CW, yeah, but gas goes stale after 6 months or so, and it's hard to refine. And where are they getting gunpowder and metal for the casings and stuff? Just some food for thought. Gunpowder is not that hard to make. I've made it before. But you do have to have access to the resources, so there's that. But as far as metal, you can, like I said, you can melt down some other stuff, but it's still going to, it's not going to be as you're not going to have as much success with firing if you're making your own bullets. Greater chance of damaging your gun. Dr. Vinny Boombats. I mean, if people have questions about guns, my brother was a former PI. I could always ask him to join in the chat at some point. I'd have to text him. I don't know where he's at. Is it possible to convincingly write a hero whose central motivation is that he or she should never be held accountable for anything ever? I mean, yeah, I think there's a ton of stories like that where they have the fallen hero, or if you want the hero to die at the end or meet their demise, the demonic hero is the one who basically starts out good and becomes bad, and then in the end you're rejoicing at their death because, like, oh my gosh, you're a terrible person, thank God you're finally dead. And then the fallen hero is more like one who starts out mostly good or maybe corrupt in a little bit, but gets worse and worse, and then before the end kind of has a seeing the light moment. It's basically the fallen hero is the first half of that story. You could take it further and then say, oh wait, they do have redemption, like if they survive. But a lot of stories that have characters like that typically don't see what they're doing as wrong. So when you say accountability, they believe that they should never be held accountable. That just means that they think that what they're doing is just, or that they think that it's the right thing to do in some way, which could be like the ends justify the means, doing terrible things to have what they think is right at the end. Or they could be totally a total psychopath and just think completely backwards. Suave Bob, how's the dog's eye? Better now? Yep, totally 100%. She was basically 100% the same day. I mean, I took her to have her teeth cleaned, and she was drowsy for 2 days after that. But I took her for this eye surgery. They must have been very precise with the anesthesia, because she was perfectly fine the same day. She's like, ready to go. And I was like, oh, we got to be careful. Poor thing had to wear a cone for 2 weeks, though. She did not like that. A very large dog with a cone running into walls and things all the time, or like getting caught on doors. Oh, I felt so bad for her. If you like TNGQ, did you know that the same actor in Discord is in My Little Pony? Yes, I did. Because I recently, not because I want her to get into it, but we recently exposed my niece to My Little Pony, and I heard Discord's voice, and I was like, oh, that's John Delancey. Oh my gosh, that's totally him. And it is him. So funny that he's doing that. I loved his portrayal. I think he definitely made the character. I did see, I did some research on his involvement in TNG, and he was partially responsible for the creation of the Q character, just because in how he played the character. Gene Roddenberry was very impressed. The writers went along with it, and basically Q is who he was because John Delancey decided, I'm going to play him this way. I like Sapphic-Sated's videos. Yeah, I like them too. Very well thought out, good video essays. I'm not good at video essays. I don't like doing scripted stuff, never have. I think it's partially why the Sword and the Pen channel has basically no videos on it. It's because I keep I don't want to do a scripted video, but I have to, and I'm going to. I'm going to transfer my my Greyjoy treatment as sort of like this will be how I launch myself into doing more scripted videos. I plan to do my what is it called, the Greyjoy treatment video, rewrite it, use a lot of the same footage, but rewrite it so it's only about Theon Greyjoy and the concept, and no Wheel of Time stuff in there, and just do that and put that in on that channel. Make it a little nicer. I wasn't entirely satisfied with my script for that video, because I did script some parts of it because I wanted to make sure I said things efficiently. I still didn't like how I did it. I'm a perfectionist, though. Let's see. Silence Game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best games out there storyline wise. That's what I know thus far. I think my brother really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. I remember when it came out and he was talking about how nobody bothered me for 2 days. I'm playing this game. Okay. Nobody's going to call you. Nobody's going to ask anything of you. We know you're playing a video game for 2 years, which we teased him about relentlessly. But no, I get it. It's a good story. Or I mean, it must be a good story. Jaffa says, as someone from the UK, I was recently wondering, however, I must have missed part of the conversation. Tahoe Rhea is talking to CW, not me. Big Dog the Dawn. Since you did Ellie's story, the next similar story, or even better in games, is Telltale The Walking Dead. It is shorter, won't take much time. Okay, good to do a short story. I could see that. Let's see, somebody's talking to Tahoe Rhea. Lori says, okay, random question. In the Star Wars Solo movie, a female Sith was introduced. How cool would that storyline be? I feel there has been a missed opportunity. Thoughts? Wasn't that what the Alkalite was supposed to be? Which I stopped watching. I stopped watching at the part that I think probably most people stopped watching, which was the power of one, the power of many. That, oh my gosh, I can't. What a weird decision. I think that's what that was supposed to be. But yeah, a female Sith would be cool. There are so many opportunities for storytelling in the Star Wars universe. And I know that there has been a lot of great stories that have been told within the Star Wars universe that are considered canon. I think there's, from what I understand, there's like a board where you have to get approval for a novel or a story to be considered part of the Star Wars canon. And it has to fit in and not retcon anything. And I don't know why they haven't taken more inspiration from producing those. But yeah, I'd be interested in a female Sith. I think that'd be cool. Maybe I would like a redemption story. I think, or maybe a fall. You know, you do one of those, but we've seen kind of the fall. We've seen kind of the redemption, but we didn't get to see the fall and okay, there we go. I haven't seen the fall and the redemption. That'd be cool to see that. Redemptions are such great stories. I'm always into those. Did you react to The Last of Us Left Behind DLC? I did not react to it, but I watched it. So I did see that. And I think I actually included some bits of it in my most recent video, the one about Joel, the Joel's Conundrum. I'm pretty sure I put some clips from the DLC in there, or maybe at least one. Jaffa, as someone from the UK, I was recently wondering how everyone has guns in The Last of Us, and then I remember it's based in America. Yeah, we got more guns than people in the US. And that's not uncommon. It's especially if you live in a place with a lot of wilderness nearby. Like my sister lives in Alaska. You absolutely have to have a gun up there to survive. You can't be without one. You will be dead. And everybody there has a very, very powerful weapon on them at all times, something that could take out a bear, because man versus bear, that scenario, the answer to that scenario was answered long ago. Now, Amber, has no one told you that you must watch 3 episodes of Andor? Let me be the first to tell you, you must watch 62 episodes of The Expanse. Come on, tell me when I'll get hooked. That's what I want to know. I want to know, when will I get hooked? Because I pay attention to that when I'm reading manuscripts. I really focus a lot on when is the first moment that a reader is going to get really hooked on this. And I notice I do it with shows and movies too. I think about, that's the moment. That's the moment where I have to know what happens next. And for me, it just did not happen in Andor. It should have happened after he did that thing to the 2 guards in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, but it didn't. I mean, and it was because I wasn't sure there was going to be a payoff, and there was a great payoff. Let's see. Stalin approves 5G. Man, if you loved The Last of Us, I am pretty sure you would love The Walking Dead. The game. You've said this already. Okay. Big Dog the Dawn. Come on, chat, back me up. Clem and The Walking Dead deserves analysis. Everybody's pushing. Hey, email it to me and I'll take a look at it. Aaron Griffin, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are good Star Wars stories to watch playthroughs too. Oh, video games. I love the Star Wars universe. I just haven't been excited about any stories taking place in it until Andor. And it was the least Star Wars like story I'd come across, and I still was very interested. It really could have been, it could have taken place in any universe and still been a great show. The fact that it took place in the Star Wars universe, it was like they did the, what are they called? What do people call them when they're things that are just for fans of the IP, like member berries? Is that what they call them? Like, oh, this is a little Easter egg that only people who know the IP will love. Like, I was finally having moments like that. I was watching Andor and I was like, oh, that's a thing for, I'm not going to give anything away. But I had moments where I was seeing those things and getting excited because I was like, oh yeah, this is in the Star Wars universe. I know what that thing is. Richard Jeffries, there's a whole lot of there's a whole video on the murder box that is the transporter concept. Yes. I'm sure there could be, and I'm sure that there's somebody out there who's done videos on it. It is a murder box. There's no way you would survive the transporter. They're bloody. I hope I said that right. If you want to keep doing game stories, God of War 2018 and its sequel is cinematic, and I believe, and I've been told that the story is not amazing, but the interaction between characters are fantastic. Strong characters can sometimes be enough to carry a story. There's like, even, okay, like we were just talking about Andor. It's not the most spectacular story, but it is the interaction between the characters that is, to me, fascinating. I enjoy the conversations in that show so much. It's just a great, it's a colorful cast of types of characters, and so fascinating to see how they would have conversations and really feel like, yeah, this is how these people, somebody competent wrote these characters having conversations, is basically what I'm getting at. Indigo. I love the Walking Dead games, but after the first season, they start to fall off. The final season is great, though. You guys have got to tell me, send these to me, because I do go through these comments live, so I don't usually go through them again afterwards, but send me the email. Send me an email with the name that you want me to check out, the name of the game. The Plague Tale games follow the actual Black Death in medieval France. It's represented by hordes of rats. So the setting is fairly historically accurate, but they have some supernatural elements too. Oh, that could be cool. Okay, I'm suddenly a lot more interested. And this is, which game is that one for? Which one is that for? Is that the Claire whatever? I think that is. Oh man, now I can't remember the name of it. I'm not going to go back, but I think I know which one you're talking about. The 33 game. Why do they have numbers in a game that's set in a historical setting? Whatever. Okay. LA. The Boy and the Heron was gorgeous in cinemas. It was like a baby sensory video to me. I could care less what's happening with the story because the art was just so breathtaking. I do love the artwork in The Boy and the Heron. The one thing I did not like was the coloring as much. There was something that was less vibrant in the coloring. And then I found out after the movie, I was like, why did it feel a little bit more dreary? I found out that they got a new colorist for the first time. I was like, I can't believe that made such a huge difference. Miyazaki has used, I guess, the same colorist for most of his movies. And then suddenly for this one, not there. And I felt that. But yes, beautiful artwork. Absolutely stunning artwork. Jaffa. Yes, I love Ghosts. Is it Ghosts of Tsushima or is it Ghost of Tsushima? I think either way, I love the artwork. It's so cool. I love cheese. Ghost of Tsushima is great, but it presents you with a choice in game, but ignores it on cutscenes. Oh, that's a bummer. That would annoy me. That annoyed me. That I could see how if I was playing it, I would be really bothered by that. I'd be like, wait, that's not what I did. I don't know how to say this name. Is it Ciaran Newcomb or is it Kieran Newcomb? Or maybe it's neither of those. Have you watched Understanding The Last of Us Part 2 by Girlfriend Reviews? It has great insights into why this story works as a video game, and it's only 10 minutes long. I have not seen that one. Send that to me in an email, or you could comment under this video, not in the live comment thread, though. Remind me of that one. They're bloody. Wonder if you watched the movie Weapons and if there is a comment on telling a story from perspectives. I don't know what the movie Weapons is. Somebody was talking about it recently, though. I don't know if it was in Discord or if it was in my comments. It sounds familiar. Apollo Valjean. Am I saying Valjean right? That's how I think it's said. Can we be done with The Last of Us? What's next of us? Or what? See, that's why my brain does that sometimes. What's next? Not what's next of us. I'm not sure. It's like I said, I've got the Wheel of Time stuff that I'm going to be finishing up. I'm also looking at. I made a whole list. Okay, well, I want to know what people think of this. My sister came up with this idea, and I think that she might be onto something. She thinks I should do a video on saving Jar Jar Binks. How would I save him as a character instead of this horrible, obnoxious character that we just want to see disappear by episode 3? And then discuss obnoxious characters throughout stories that have somehow managed to be endearing, obnoxious characters that have become endearing by the end. And I think that's a worthy subject. And she also really wants me to watch The Witcher. She's not a super fan, but she wants me to like find things in it to like instead of focusing on the things it's doing wrong. Just look at the things that it's doing well. I don't know how successful I would be in that. But I'm very interested in doing, like I said, Foundation and Severance and Andor. Those are all things I'm really wanting to do. I really haven't settled on which one I'm going to do first, but I think I'm going to do something kind of abstract, like what my sister was talking about, the saving Jar Jar Binks. I think I'll do something probably like that, where I just bring up obnoxious characters from other stories and kind of go through how they were made to be tolerable and likable and endearing, and then apply some of those things to Jar Jar Binks at various points in his story and how we can save him. That's just an idea. I think it sounded like fun, and I haven't had a fun video in a while, so maybe. Min Holloway. Don't know if this has been suggested, but what Lies of P game would make a good story review? It's based on Pinocchio. Oh, interesting. Lies of P? Is that what it is? Or is it What Lies of P? I've never heard of it before. A video game based on Pinocchio. How interesting. I like cheese. The only good game of The Walking Dead is the first one. The second and the rest are really bad. Oh, good to know. Silence, thank you. Silence Game, thank you for the $5. You have no comment here. Just $5. Just giving me money. That's fine. I would say keep it coming, but I'm appreciative of just the $5 even. Thank you so much. Indigo, overall, did you enjoy The Last of Us 2, or did you find it unenjoyable in terms of writing? I mean, I'm one of those people who it's at a point where it would depend on how I'm looking at it. For me, I could appreciate small parts of it. Like the stuff that Sapphic focuses on, the individual scenes or individual story arcs and particular elements of it. I can appreciate that. I really appreciate the work that was put into this. I did not connect with the characters because I felt like a lot of them were acting in ways that were open to interpretation, but then things would happen later on in the story that say, actually, it's this way. And I'm going, well, then why was everything open to interpretation before? That was a consistent problem. And it seems like when you come up with one interpretation to explain why somebody's doing something, that's not the universal interpretation. And so it's hard for me to have any solid feelings about something that is so variable like that. But overall, it's beautiful, and I could totally see it being very immersive for anybody playing it. I really enjoyed The Last of Us 1. It was a much simpler story, which I think it made it an easier story to tell and be cleaner, fewer errors going through it. The Last of Us Game 2, it was the nonlinear storytelling is usually less effective in creating emotional resonance with characters. Having characters do things and then we're going to explain it retroactively does not work as effectively as a streamlined storytelling. So from beginning to end, having everything happen in chronological order. Taking your audience or your reader on an emotional journey is always going to be more effective in creating that empathy or that sympathy where you are kind of like, oh, I understand this and I feel what they're going through. Let's see. But most overall, I would say I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad that I know the story now because I totally understand the discourse behind among the fans and the non-fans, I guess. Aaron Griffin, John Constantine, the perfect demonic hero, literally has demon blood. Is that Constantine? I've only seen the Keanu Reeves Constantine movie, which I actually really like. Isn't there a second one coming out? Aren't they doing a sequel or something like that? I heard. I don't know how I feel about that. I think you should just leave it alone. But I know it's based off a comic or something like that, which maybe they have some more material that's also good. I liked that story. Demonic hero would mean that he gets killed at the end or his power is taken away from him at the end. And at least from what I have seen of, if we're talking about Constantine, the one that I'm thinking of, the Keanu Reeves one, he's more of a fallen hero, but he gets a redemption at the end. And actually, he's really just a morally gray hero because he's always fighting for good. He's not doing bad things that we all look at and say, no, you shouldn't go and do that. He's just a little bit gray, but he's always fighting for good. Not quite what I would call a fallen hero. Jake, I think a Red Dead 2 review would be entertaining. Yep, you're not the only one who has said that. Dr. Vinny Boombats, thanks. Smiley face. You're welcome. Tahoe, Nevada. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is the new hotness. Is it a new game? Developed by some former Ubisoft Assassin's Creed series devs. It just released a few months ago. They're already planning. Oh, okay, so it is new. More Claire Obscure games. That's interesting. Okay. I guess because it's new, I mean, it would be hot to talk about, I suppose. Let's see. Big Dog the Dawn. What do you think about games that let the player decide how the story goes? Do you prefer that or just the story planned by the developers? Well, it depends on what the options are. Because if the player gets to decide how it goes, I mean, it's not like they invent the story 100%. They're choosing a branch of storytelling. Now, you can start stories in the same place, but they'll never end back in the same place. So any story that starts out, everybody's in the same position, and then they can go wherever they want on this adventure, and it all comes back to the same middle. I've never seen that done in a way that's believable from every story. And I haven't seen a whole lot of them, right? But it makes perfect sense that it would be a very rare thing to be able to tell a story like that, because typically a character that goes on a journey and makes different choices along that journey, they're going to end up in a different place by the end. They're not going to be in the same position as somebody who made different choices at the beginning. But I'd be interested to see one that does do that and does it well from every storyline. Yeah, and I can't really have a whole lot of opinions about video games because I haven't played any. I've never played a video game myself, except the 2 hours I spent creating a character for, I think it was Oblivion or Fable or one of those. I don't know. It was, I just did that for about 2 hours and I was doing the tutorial thing and I was like, I don't know how to do this tutorial. I'm done. I had more fun like giving my character like pink hair and like a cat face and like a body armor. And I was like, okay, she's really cool. And then I had to play her and I was like, this is less cool because I sucked. I was really bad. LA, Claire Obscure is pretty new, so it makes sense you haven't heard of it. Okay. Basically, a few game developers left a big company and finally got to make something they wanted to make, and that's Claire Obscure. Very cool. I love those kind of stories. I'm always rooting for the little guy, like the underdog, and that is a great story. They got tired of not being able to make the movies, or not the movies, the games they wanted to make, and so they're like, we can do this. Let's do this. I like that. Good for them. Claire Valjean, Jimmy, you don't care. I don't care. Oh, you mean how I pronounce your name? Valjean? I think that's what you're talking about. Apollo Valjean says, Amber, your formal channel is NKT. I don't know what that means. What does NKT mean? The Vinny Boombats saying the Acolyte has the effect of a jump scare on most Star Wars fans. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. What a funny show, though. Sorry, I dropped my phone. I don't even know I have it in my lap. There's no reason to have it in my lap. I'm not even looking at it. I don't know what the creators were thinking making that. I don't know the Star Wars universe as well as most people, or as most Star Wars fans do, but I could tell this feels so alien. This does not feel like it belongs in the Star Wars universe. Oh my goodness. It was so weird. Apollo Valjean says, your formal channel should not be a source of stress. If you want to retire it, then do it. You have fans here. Make it what you want it to be, is what I think you meant to say there. I actually don't want the sword. I didn't want the Sword and the Pen Reflections to be a thing. Like, it was supposed to be like a supplemental channel, the Reflections was, and it's supposed to just be the Sword and the Pen. Like, what the heck? What kind of weird name is that? The Sword and the Pen Reflections. That was literally supposed to be my, like, I don't want to put effort into these videos. And I stupidly started putting more effort into those videos, and now it's the channel. But if I get, I have actually a couple videos on the Sword and the Pen channel that haven't been published, including one on Full Metal Alchemist 2003, because I really love that story. And I watched that came out while I was in college, and it was making such a splash that I had to check it out. And I was one of those people, again, illegally downloading it here in the US as it was premiering in Japan. And I think it's great. I think it's a really great story. So I did an essay on it. Like, I own the DVDs for that one, because you can't stream it anywhere. And I realized nobody can stream it anywhere anyway. It's not available. So I thought it'd be good to do an essay on it. But yeah, it's totally blocked, like, out the wazoo. I cannot upload that thing at all. So I probably know more about YouTube now than I did when I made that video. So I'll bet I could go in now and kind of fudge with it and fix it and get it up. Oh, I totally know some tricks that would work to, like, get past the copyright ID. Oh, I should really try and upload that video now. Okay, I'm glad you said this comment, because now I'm thinking about that and I should do that. Okay, anyway, moving on. Dare Bladi. Oh, I need a drink first for a second. Commenting all the comments is wild. I know, but I've been told people like it when I sit here and panic trying to get through all of them. So here we are. If you guys hate it, let me know. Summit. I was hooked on The Expanse from episode 1, but I had read some of the books before. So I think it's just, the show for me is one of those ones where I have to push myself through a few episodes more than I've watched. I think I've watched more than one. But I need to sit and binge for maybe a full afternoon. Like, if I'm sick, the next time I'm really sick, and so if folks don't know, I don't get sick very often, but when I do, it's a doozy. And I know, okay, wait, actually, people on this channel might not know that about me at all, but that's usually me, with the exception of this last 2 years, taking care of my niece. When we first started trying to get her to daycare and a babysitter, I was literally catching every single sickness she had, but getting it twice as bad and for twice as long. And so I was sick more often than I was healthy. I was on steroids and antibiotics, something like, I think it was like 5 times last year. Which is why I gained 50 pounds in the last 2 years. It's starting to come off slowly. Hooray for me. But I don't usually get sick. And then when I do, it lasts like 2 weeks. And I like to binge shows during that. I will just sit and consume an entire series from beginning to end. Because what else am I going to do? I let myself rest when I'm sick, when I'm that sick, because I end up in the hospital if I don't. I got all kinds of weird health issues that don't come up very often, but when they do, holy crap, I got to be careful. I don't want to end up in the hospital. Let's see. Hawksmore 42. I was hooked in the first episode of The Expanse and hadn't read any of the books. Okay. I mean, I could see the show being it seems to me like it's just very much a more mature story. I mean, I know this from the book, but just from the show, they're presenting it in the same way. And people aren't used to seeing science fiction done that way anymore, which is sad. Pragerzin, I wrote you a little novelette of an email about Claire Obscure Expedition just now. Oh, okay. Novelette. Oh boy. Okay. No, I, by the way, I read almost all of my comments. I just don't always have time to reply to them because I'm taking care of kids and I'm reading them like this. So, I don't always reply to everything, but when I do, I try to do smiley face. I think I might be changing the way I do things and just doing a like if I read the comment, and then I will reply to the ones I can. But that way people can know which ones I actually read, because I read almost all of them. I try to read all the comments. I just I'm not always able to reply to all of them. Silence Game. Have you seen Altori on how she talked about the Last of Us show? It's great. Made me laugh. I watched Altori as catharsis after the show because I needed a laugh. And oh my gosh, so vulgar but hilarious. At first I found her voice very annoying, but now I think it's part of the comedy. Very, very funny. Yes, if you haven't seen Altori's videos and you don't mind a little vulgarity, very funny. Very, very funny. Alvin Yell. The Rat Plague is for Plague Tale Innocence. That's a different game. It's not the Claire one, Claire Obscure. And Plague Tale Requiem, I guess. Okay, so there's a couple of games centered around that world. Jaffa. It would be great to get your thoughts on God of War 2018. And fun fact about it, the full game is a one-shot. There's absolutely no cuts in it. Oh, that's impressive. I used to work in film production. And so that sort of stuff always impresses me. Even if it's CGI, I understand how difficult that can be. So I'd be interested to see how that is accomplished. Potatoes. You're not talking to me. Let's see. Tahoe Ria, Nevada. I think the problem with the Walking Dead games is that they're choice driven. So Clementine will remember that. I don't get the joke, but maybe other people do. And my back is just scrunching. I feel like there's a pop that needs to happen. It's not happening though. Okay, let's see. Bree. Plague Tale is a different game than Claire Obscure. Thank you for clarifying. For Plague Tale, the first is called A Plague Tale Innocence, and the sequel is A Plague Tale Requiem. Thank you very much for that. So the Plague one, the medieval Plague one, is obviously the Plague Tale. Winter Rose says, Mara Jade from Star Wars books, in what Disney calls the expanded university, or universe, I think is what was meant, is a female Sith who gets a redemption arc and marries Luke Skywalker. What? My rogue warrior, what? Oh, well, I sort of like that he's like the lone Jedi. Like he's this lonely sort of knight. Because, you know, the Jedi are basically knights in space. Oh my gosh, that was terrible, but I think people know what I actually meant by that. I don't talk so good, but I write real nice. Let's see. Joe Miller, if it worked, why did it piss off more than half the fans? Are you asking that of me? Because I didn't say that it worked. But it can work for some people where they don't mind storytelling having as many inconsistencies and loopholes and things like that. There's plenty. Like, you I don't think you were here at the beginning of my live stream. At least I didn't see you in the comments, Joel Miller. But I can see how people would love stories even if they have flaws in them. Like I love stories that have flaws in them. I love stories that are absolute crap. I gave Star Trek The Next Generation as an example of a story that I absolutely adore and I think is brilliant. But I definitely see that it is not perfect. It has a ton of problems, tons of problems, but I don't care. I adore it. I will sit down and watch the crappiest, I almost said something else, the crappiest episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and I will only cringe a tiny little bit like that, and I'll mostly enjoy it. But I'll also like just adore the good ones. Summit. Kieran sounds like one of those Irish names. That's what I was thinking too, that is pronounced using none of the letters. It is spelled with yes. It looks like a cool name. Mr. Fan of Gem, I asked you about the weapons before. You said you don't like horror movies. Oh, is that because I probably went and I looked it up. So when people ask me a question in the comments and I want to answer it, they'll be like, have you seen this or whatever? I'll go and look it up. And I know I haven't seen it, but I'll go look it up. And then if I see what it is and I go, oh, like in this case, it was a horror genre movie, I probably just wanted to let you know that I'm not likely to check it out because it's horror. There are very few. Okay. Somebody was talking to me in Ko-fi, in my Ko-fi messages about what's his name, Michael Flanagan or something, the guy who wrote the house on the haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass. The first of his work that I saw was Midnight Mass, and I adore that. I think it's so good. I know that there's a lot of long ass monologues in there, but that's kind of the style. And if you can accept that it's the style, and there's a difference between art and realism, and it's clearly meant to be art in that area with the monologues. And I loved that. I love the story. I think it's really, really well done. I could go on and on about Midnight Mass. And I liked the others as well. There was The Haunting of Hill House, and then there was another one. And I started House of Usher, and I just couldn't get into it. But I was informed, that I have to give it more of a shot. Like I have to do a sick day and watch a lot of episodes. Yep. Silence Game. I have seen Altori and do enjoy Altori's work. Brilliant stuff. Dr. Vinny Boombats. Save Rose Tico while you are in there with Jar Jar. Oh, Rose, the girl. Yeah. How sad was that character was wasted. I recall the beginning of that movie because I've only seen the third trilogy like once through. I think I saw the first movie maybe a couple times, but the third trilogy, I only saw it all the way through once. But I remember really liking, because it was Rose and her sister. I was like, this is a great little backstory or whatever we were watching. It was like the intro or something. I was like, this is so interesting. And then Rose just did not land. I don't know what happened. That poor character, the poor actress who had to play that character, because I think she got a lot of heat for that. I mean, so did the Jar Jar Binks guy, but I've heard that he's got some fans now that are like, hey, we like the actor even though we hate the character. That's a good attitude to have. Unless the actor comes out and says, I wrote the character, there's no reason to hate on an actor for a character they're playing, which is why I've never said anything bad about Bella Ramsey, with the exception of her character does eye rolls a lot. And I don't know if she decided to do that or the director decided to do that, but somebody was in charge of making sure she does or doesn't do the things she's supposed to do. And that was not a good choice. But I don't think that she's responsible at all for her character having been written terribly. Where are we? Machine Gun Bunny. Hey, sis. That is my sister, by the way, Machine Gun Bunny. What a great idea. And I love the name Saving Jar Jar Binks. Of course you do. You came up with it. You're so smart. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to be annoying there. She and I went shopping the other day at Dillard's, and we thought we deserved medals for how many deals we found. And we were totally serious about it. Oh, we're weird. I just thought I'd share that with everybody. Machine Gun Bunny. I like cheese, says episode 3. I wanted Jar Jar gone after 5 minutes. No. I mean, I would go through his arc in episodes 1, 2, and 3. And how would I have changed him? I mean, he would have to be changed in episode 1. He would have to be changed significantly. But you can still have him be obnoxious in the way that he's obnoxious. but we have to give him something to make him likable. And I have some ideas. Machine Gun Bunny, your sister sounds super cool and creative. Are you just, everybody knows it's you. Stop doing this. You're embarrassing yourself. Joel Miller, save the Emperor too. Save the Emperor? What, like make him sympathetic? I don't know if there's any point in doing that, because Star Wars really is about light and dark. And if you take it in the direction of, well, it's complicated, that kind of defeats the purpose of Star Wars. The themes of Star Wars do not suggest that it is a complex world. This is why Andor feels weird, because in Andor, you've got morally gray actions for a morally right, higher good that's happening. But which is not what you see in the rest of the Star Wars trilogies. And they tried to do it in the last 3 episodes. You know what I mean? Episode 7, 8, and 9. I was trying to count in my head, and my brain is getting fried here. That they didn't feel right, because they were trying to suggest things that they've never suggested before. And the Acolyte is where they just went way off the cliff with that whole idea. Laura B, getting rid of his horrible accent would go a long way. It certainly would, but so if anybody here is familiar with the Chronicles of Predain, there's a character in the Chronicles of Predain that is equally obnoxious to Jar Jar Binks, but learns and grows and has a lot of endearing characteristics as well. And I think that is the difference between Jar Jar Binks and Jar Jar Binks likable, is having enough higher good qualities that outweigh the bad and obnoxious ones. Anyway, it's a whole discussion. That's why I want to do a video on it. Kiltmaninator. I don't know how the heck I'm saying your name. Kiltmaninator. Kiltmaninator. Whatever. Watch to episode 4 of The Expanse. Okay, pro tip. Check those individual episode ratings. Episode 4 is a full point higher than episodes 1 through 3 on IMDb. Episode 3 of Andor is a full point higher than episode 1 and 2. Oh, okay. That I will from now on be checking IMDb's episode ratings. That sounds like a good little way to pre-screen. Oh, like lipstick on my teeth. Whatever. Okay, let's see. I have to look over here and like check myself in the video every once in a while. Like, oh my gosh, my hair is looking nuts. Let's see. Dara Bloody says, The Witcher show is okay, but the creators took it in their own direction, which felt like a betrayal of the original story. I had not read The Witcher. My other sister, my Alaska sister, loves it, and she just could not stand what they started doing with The Witcher. So I'm certain that it's like that. And I've heard what happened with folks in the writing room saying that they did not like the main character, and that's a recipe for disaster in the writing. If you don't understand why people love a character, you're going to have a hard time conveying that character in the way that it is supposed to be conveyed. Let's see. I think I talked about that in one of my videos. Which one was it? I can't remember. Let's see. Okay, I know this is for Summit, but I'm going to read it. Kieran is an Irish name, pronounced Kieran. I just pronounced it right for the first time. And yeah, okay, there we go. Kieran. Applying Irish language phonetics to it instead of English. Oh, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly then, because I don't know Irish language phonetics at all. Yeah. And I know that they're a little bit on the complex side, at least from what I've heard and what I've seen. Somebody made that comment about names not sounding anything like how they're spelled. That is my familiarity with Irish language phonetics. Hawksmore 42 says, Saving Jar Jar Binks sounds like a fun video. I think it would be fun. Lori says, watched a video once where Jar Jar Binks was actually a Sith undercover. Not sure I buy it, but thought-provoking. Well, he could be. He's the one who's responsible for the Emperor coming into power. Like, anyway, yes, which is not good. Oh yeah. So for folks who don't know, Potatoes, also known as Taters, is a bit of a Star Wars expert. So he would know this stuff. Star Wars leaned into Darth Jar Jar. It was fun. Was he a character in Star Wars outside of the original 3 episodes? Like he's an existing character from Star Wars lore? I don't know. 007 Angelo, thank you for doing a deep dive into the debacle that started so great with The Last of Us Part 1. Boy, they crapped the bed hard with Part 2. Well, they certainly complicated the story, and that was difficult, I think, to pull off in a way that didn't accidentally do some harm to what was already established in Game 1. Joel Miller, Detroit, Become Human. What am I missing here? Silence Game, RD, Red Dead Redemption. I think that's what we meant. Sorry. I'm burning out here. What time is it? Oh, it's only 3:30. I've only been on here an hour and a half. How is that possible? Red Dead Redemption 2 has that options of your end. Oh, so multiple. So it's got multiple options for endings. Okay. It's good to know. Summit. Don't say that, Amber. Now you are going to come down with some horrible plague for weeks. Oh my gosh, this is how far behind we are. I got to speed up. Okay, here we go. Emmanuel Saves the World. Guys, we should petition HBO to remaster the Last of Us series and have the Sword and the Pen right for them. No, I don't want to do that. So there's so I've had a lot of people saying, oh, you should, go and fix this thing or do this thing. The thing is I come in as a developmental editor at early drafts of the story to solve big problems. If you've got a story that is super problematic, like The Last of Us Game 2, there are huge changes I would have made that would have fundamentally changed the whole story. I could go in there and do little things to make it a little bit better, but at the end, the big problems would still exist. My job is, to the best of my ability, to not change what the intention of the writer is. And if the intention of the writers for The Last of Us Game 2 was to tell that story, I would tell them, I can help you make some scenes better. I can help you smooth over a few things, but the changes that I would want to make it a flawless story would involve making it a whole different story. And that's not what anybody wants. They would want that story. But yeah, when you're editing somebody's book for them, it's good to have, I usually ask the writers to send me what their intentions are for the story, and we'll have a discussion about what it is in particular they want to do. Or if I have a problem with what a character does in the story, I'm like, what were you trying to do here? What is it that you wanted here? And I try to work my critiques into what their intentions are. And unfortunately, The Last of Us Game 2 is already a completed story. So they've already done what they intended to do. And the best I can do to help that without changing the overall story is little fixes here and there that really wouldn't fix it a whole lot. Let's go. They'd be pretty superficial, is what I mean. Aaron Griffin, you could play oh yeah, I skipped Jaffa because, let's see, this is for silent thing. I'm going to start skipping ones that are clearly talking to somebody else. Aaron Griffin, you could play Claire Obscurus, that game. It is a turn-based game. Just got to practice dodging. It'll hit harder, and the music is god tier. I'll have to see. Let me see what it looks like. I mean, there's only one game I've been really interested in playing recently, and I know people are going to laugh. I was interested in the Blue Aliens Avatar game, only because I was like, oh, this is such a pretty alien world. That's literally it. That's all I care about, is it looks pretty. It was, yeah, like, that's just a superficial reason to go. I don't care what the story is. Although Chris Wooding, who wrote two novels I really like, is one of the writers for that game. So maybe I'll be interested in whatever story they come up with. But, anyway, distraction. Okay, got to get through these. Dara Blady. Since people are mentioning TV shows, have you seen the first season of True Detectives? I have not. I do like crime story. I was really into crime stories. I was into Criminal Minds. Loved that show. And again, totally flawed, very cheesy often show, but I like the exploration of the psychology of the serial killers. I think it's fascinating, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it. And I know they take a lot of inspiration from real life serial killers for that show. CW, you look great. Never would have guessed you were struggling health-wise. Glad you're feeling better. Oh, no. I don't mean like I'm a sickly person. I just have things like severe asthma. My kidneys are not functioning properly. Like I was born with faulty kidneys. But that's basically it. But those two things are kind of big. So when things hit me, they hit pretty hard. Let's see. CW. Oh, yeah, you already got you. Silence Game. I like your blue glasses and you look wonderful. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you. Actually, they're kind of teal green. Can you see that? Sorry, I just noticed what it was doing to the screen when I was doing that. Cody A. Sparks, greetings. I almost didn't recognize you without your glasses in the thumbnail. Oh, yeah, that's right. That picture, by the way, was taken by a friend of mine maybe 2 or 3 years ago out in the forest. And I was like, I want something that looks like I'm ready to fight zombies, but I didn't want to dress up and go outside and take a new picture. And I was like, I'm sure I have one. I was like, oh, yes, I do. I took a picture outside with my sword. And I was like, that's it. That's the one. I don't fence with my glasses on. I've tried it many times and it's hard. It gets all like this in my mask, and also my glasses fog up. I sweat a lot. I'm a sweaty person. I also used to take ballet. I was the only person in my class who needed a towel at the bar so that I could mop the floor after myself. I'm sweaty, can I say? Let's see. Oh, I didn't read your whole comment. Greetings. I almost didn't recognize you without our glasses in the thumbnail. And since we're talking about TV shows, I just finished Dexter Resurrection and it was great. That's the second one with the younger guy. I have not watched the original Dexter, but I was like, oh, this is a prequel. I'm sure I'm not going to be missing anything if I just do this. You know, it's the story of him growing up. I was really enjoying it. I liked it a lot. I also like that actor. I think he's really talented. And I think it's a shame that he's been part of 2 or 3 shows now that have been canceled. Like they've started and then just like, sorry, we don't get to finish this. What a disappointment that must be. But I think he's going to go places. Somebody should hire him. Like he's a good looking guy and I think he's very talented. He will have a good future in filmmaking, in acting. Richard Jeffries. Mara Jade is not a Sith. She was a Force-sensitive assassin for the Emperor that abandoned the Empire after Andor. Okay. I mean, it's still a villain following a villain. So I guess I could see that. But yeah, definitely not. If not a Sith, there's a difference between being an assassin. And Force-sensitive, from what I understand, is not the same as being able to use the Force. Maybe I'm wrong. Fadian, did I say that right? Glad to have caught, a bit of your stream on this NFL Sunday. Is it an NFL Sunday? I don't know. I don't pay attention to football, but thanks for taking a break from it to come and check me out. Happy to have any extra audience members. Cakes says, did you hear that there are rumors of them making The Last of Us Season 3 without script? Neil Druckmann has already jumped ship. What do you mean without script? Does that mean that they're just going to wing it? How do you even do that? Or is it just like you can explore the world and do your own thing? That'd be kind of neat. Although people would probably get bored of that really fast. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, I got to know more about that. Emmanuel Saves the World. Thank you for the $5. Ouch, I hurt my hand. Oh, I bonked it on my stupid microphone. That actually really hurt. This is the hand that I broke when I was up in Alaska. I broke my hand on a glacier and had to fly back down to Arizona because I was going to stay up there for a whole extra month, and I ended up having an injury that made me have to go home. Anyway, that's a story. Do you think we can convince HBO with a remaster The Last of Us petition? Would you consider writing with them? Nobody wants me to write. I think a lot of people were really unhappy that I didn't love Game 2. And so nobody would there would not be enough people in favor of me going and doing it. I'd be happy to help them in the early development of a script. I would have no problem doing that. And if we're talking about HBO, okay, so HBO, that would be the show. I thought for a second in my brain, I thought you were talking about the game. and I would not be comfortable helping develop a game since I don't know anything about games. But I know enough about filmmaking, and it's pretty much the same as far as storytelling is concerned as a novel. It's just a little bit of translation of tone and doing that with words as opposed to doing that with sound and imagery. But the script would still be basically the same. Sorry, I'm thinking aloud here. I would help with a show or a movie, but I would not help with the game. Would you consider writing with them? I'd consider writing with anybody. I would love to. I'd love to be part of any big production. I think it'd be so fun to be part of something like that. I mean, like I said, I was involved in filmmaking before, but they weren't big productions. But that would be so cool. Philip Greasel does oh, and again, thank you for the $5. I don't know if I said that. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you know somebody, I'm always available. I have a very flexible schedule, and I'm a bit of a workaholic. I could shuffle things around for sure. Philip Greasel, does Army of Darkness count as horror? Yes, I think it does. How could that not? Fadion, Midnight Mass was a banger. Yes, it was. And it's not for everybody, but it was for me. I loved it. Tahoe Ria, Nevada. Oh, it's not a rumor at Cakes. Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross, co-writer for The Last of Us 2, both left the show ostensibly to concentrate more on their new game, Interstellar: The Heretic Prophet. A space game? I could get behind that. That sounds cool. I like space. What's that game that was really huge that everybody was talking about for a while? And it took forever for it to come out. And it was like made in basically a garage, but now it's like this huge production company. It has something to do with space, and you can just explore planets and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I'd be interested in playing that game too. I Like Cheese says, you should try Silent Hill 2 game. It's a fantastic psychological horror. Again, not really into horror, but I do like thrillers. Thrillers I'm definitely into. But if it's a psychological horror that's a little different, I might be more okay with it because it's got that element to it. It's not just horror. Winter Rose 190. I wouldn't call Army of Darkness a horror. Fantasy, yes, assuming we are thinking of the same film. Well, to some degree, let me see. I'm sure I'm thinking of the same movie. Yeah, it is okay. Yeah, it is fantasy, but it's in the very dark fantasy. So it's hard to come away from it and not say it's horror, because it is kind of zombies, vampires. It's all kind of horror. So is Aliens, by the way. Okay, first, the Alien movies, why they were the original one, they were so impactful as in cinema because they are science fictions filmed like a horror. And I thought that was fun. I can appreciate something for breaking a barrier or crossing genres like that. I like that. Has anybody here seen, this is going to be really weird, that movie, The Watcher in the Woods? It's an old Disney movie from like the 60s or 70s. I think it's the late 60s, maybe early 70s. That is a genre bender. You think you're watching one kind of story, and then it becomes another kind of story. And then by the end, you're like, oh my gosh, it's neither of those. I wouldn't spoil it, but it was Disney's first like non-kid friendly movie. And they had to actually put in a warning out to people like, this is not a kid's story. Don't take your kids to this. I loved that. That was like one of my favorite scary movies as a kid. I watched it as a kid because my parents it's interesting how they were flexible with stuff like that. They were okay with me seeing that, but I wasn't allowed to see Jurassic Park when it came out. I saw a lot of Jurassic Park like way into high school. Well, maybe not way into high school, but I was in high school before I was allowed to see that. Min Holloway, second doing Silent Hill 2, fantastic story. Second doing, not sure what that. Okay, anybody, Silent Hill 2, everybody. I've heard several people complimenting that game, saying it's got a great story. So you're not the first to say it. Mr. Fan of Gem. $10. Thank you. Again, you are being very generous in this live stream. Thank you so much. The thing I like about weapons is that they tell the story from 5 points of view while leaving out one important person. No spoilers. That is interesting. That does interest me. It's always a challenge to tell a story from different perspectives. And is it the same story? Is it the same story from multiple perspectives? Or do they jump from one perspective to another and it's still on the same timeline? I'd be interested to know that. Thank you again, $10. You're being too generous here. Derbladi. Have you heard of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Have I heard of it? I've seen the animation more times than I can count. I really love it. I really, really love it. And I know that it's a controversial thing to say, but I didn't think that the most recent adaptation was as bad as everybody thinks. I actually think it was pretty faithful. I think that they cut back on some things that maybe they shouldn't have, and they tried to cram in way too much. Like they tried to not cut. It's a weird, like that must have been a really tough one to call in the writing room. Like, what do we cut? What do we keep in? They didn't want to cut anything, but they had to cut some things. And I think some of the things that were cut were done out of fear. But I think that their hearts are in the right place. And I actually got to go to the premiere of the Netflix version. And so I think they're going to do all right. I actually talked to a few people who've never seen the cartoon, but they saw the live action and they loved it. And I was like, this is what I think is going to happen. People who've never seen the animation are going to see the show and be like, wow, this is really good. This is so fascinating. And then they'll go watch a cartoon and be like, holy cow, this is incredible. That's what I want. I want people to understand the story and be interested enough to check out the cartoon or interested enough to just dream about the world. Let's see. But yes, I love the original. And I got to meet oh, come on. I can never remember their names. Michael. There we go. Michael DiMartino. I got to meet him and tell him that I loved his story and thought that they did a fantastic job and created something that was meaningful and was so impactful in the lives of children and will for generations to come. I only had a few seconds, but I was like, I'm going to say it all. And then also Rufio. Oh my gosh, what's the name of the guy? Come on, the guy who plays Rufio. What's his name? Rufio. Dante Bosco. I'm so bad with names. I've always been bad with names. But I got to meet Dante Bosco and told him I loved his work. And I said, but he'll always be Rufio to me. And then he went bangarang. And I was like, yes, my life is complete. So anyway, I was very excited. Very excited. All right, let's see. Summit. The only way to save the Emperor is to leave him dead. This is true. That was the worst mistake they could have possibly made. Oh my gosh, why did they bring him back? Somehow Palpatine returned. Palpatine. That will be a line that lives in infamy forever as having been the worst thing to have ever happened to Star Wars. Joel Miller. I wasn't serious about saving the Emperor. I'm sure you weren't. CH. George Lucas specifically went for light versus dark because of the trend at the time of morally gray garbage that we're back to. I wouldn't say it's garbage, but it's overdone and we miss light versus dark. I think that the Paragon is always going to be a character that people love if it's done well. And we need to not shy away from that. And that was a wonderful thing about Star Wars is that you had Luke was the Paragon and his temptation or whatever was just a vision. It was, barely lasted. He made mistakes, but it's not the same as being morally gray. And I do miss that. I miss that in storytelling. Sorry, I thought I had a story that I thought I was talking about earlier. And I was like, did I ever finish that discussion? I think I did. Okay. CH. There was an interview I recall watching for the reference, by the way. Oh, you mean interview with George Lucas. Okay. I got that. Got it. Emmanuel saves the world. Thank you for the $5. I worked very hard not to smash my hand again. Thank you so much. Let's see. comment is, we can remaster The Last of Us with a brand new cast and writing crew. WDYT would YT. I don't know what DYT. Okay, I have to Google this because I'm old. WDYT. I don't get what the people say. What do you think? Oh, I was like, it's not what would you do? Let's see. What do you think? Neil loves to give us remakes of the game. Why not the show? That is funny. I will be surprised if they actually go through with season 3. I mean, you know what? They probably had enough people watching season 2 because season 1 was very good. I mean, it wasn't flawless. I had some problems with it, but it was good. People loved it. Season 2, people came to because they were thinking this is going to be another season 1, and it wasn't. And I think viewership did drop off, but there was probably enough people who were interested in seeing it that they had enough numbers to think we can do a season 3 and it'll be great. And maybe enough people will watch season 3 just to like see the mess that it's going to be. But man, did they screw up in season 2. I don't know what they were thinking with the changes they made to Ellie as a character. Just the changes they made to Ellie as a character are so horrendous. I don't know why you would do that. And there's evidence that they were going in that direction from season 1. That was actually the stuff about season 1 I did not like, as well as some pacing issues. But I don't think that I don't think that they were in their right minds when they made those changes to Ellie in season 2. It was objectively she was objectively obnoxious and unlikable, and she's not supposed to be unlikable. And not at the start anyway, I don't think. I think you're right at CNH, so that's not a comment for me. And this is the rest of that comment, CNH, if you needed that. BSR, The Sword and the Pen. I think Andor draws a very clear line between the light and the dark factions. They do. There's no ambiguity that the Empire is bad. Han and Lando had moral failings, still good. No, I do agree. I think that they dove into the complexities of the different characters, though. You couldn't say that Andor doesn't do horrible things. You couldn't say that he hasn't made choices that are certainly not something that we would see as like Luke Skywalker wouldn't have done this. But so that's part of why I mean that they went a little bit off of the light and dark that we saw in Star Wars. But part of that is about having the unambiguously good and unambiguously evil characters. They presented them in more of a realistic way. Like, I actually liked, what was her name? Deidre. I thought she was really cool. I was like, man, I'm really enjoying this character, and I see why she's doing what she's doing, and I understand it. And I'm actually for her in certain situations. But at the same time, she's on the bad side, and by the end, she's doubling down. And yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything for people. You know who one of my favorite characters in that show is? And it's not favorite like I love this character and I can't wait to see them, but I love how they were used, is Cyril's mother. Cyril's mother is one of the most effective uses of a third tier character I've ever seen. I loved what they did with that character. So, and I don't even know if you could call her third tier because she was used so well. She's got to be low second tier character. Very, very cool. I liked how they used that character. So if you want to learn about how to make an unlikable character likable by presenting a character who's even more unlikable, but believable, not fantastical unlikable, believable, that's a good way to do it. Let's see. I got to keep going. Sorry. Like, I was on Cyril's side as soon as I met the mother. I was like, I'm for you. I want you to win. I want you to catch Andor. I want you to prove your mother wrong. I want her to be eating crow. Okay. I think Andor was a betrayal of Star Wars overall. Despite being a well-done story, it was a bad Star Wars story. I don't know if I could say it was a bad Star Wars. How is it bad? I mean, I could say that it doesn't fit the Star Wars universe. What we have seen of the Star Wars universe, at least pre-Disney. Oh my gosh. I could say that it doesn't fit in that way. It doesn't carry the same themes, but I thought it was a great story. But maybe that's just me. BSR. I think Andor is a direct extension of many of the themes in New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. It might have gone to extremes you didn't feel comfortable with, but betrayal feels like a lot. Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I think I've talked about that now. Let's see. Lori says, nice taters. That actually sounds fun. I don't know what you're talking about, so that's between you guys. CH, it undermines the heroic actions of the rebellion, turning them into terrorists. They were a very different organization than that. Oh, okay. I could see that. Yeah. But the thing is that's why I'm saying it doesn't, I do agree it doesn't fit into the story of Star Wars. It does create some complexity in the characters and their means behind their motives, or the means by which they execute their motive. Whatever. I'm not talking well, but they do morally questionable things, which you don't really see in the original Star Wars trilogy. It's the villains doing the bad, with the exception of Han Solo. But he really is he's just not doing bad things. He's just not doing the good things that he should do or that he could be doing, which is kind of what Andor was dealing with in his journey in the beginning of the series. Oh, we could talk about Andor for a while. My main thing is this. I think it's a good story, but yeah, it does deviate from the themes of Star Wars. It just happens to take place in the Star Wars universe, and I actually enjoyed that. Sorry, I thought somebody was knocking on my door. C&H says, that's only one of my qualms. Okay. Summit. Yes, Amber, but early drafts are what go to film these days. I think that's true. I don't think there is enough editing happening before filming. And I know that there has to be flexibility in the script when you're on set, but it shouldn't be that flexible that you were making major changes to the script on the set. There are going to be things that happen that, oh my gosh, we have to cut this scene or whatever. And that's why you have a script supervisor or somebody who knows the script inside and out. Hopefully it's one of the producers or director who can be like, what changes can we make? Here we are. We got to compromise. What can we do to make this still work and do the things it absolutely has to do? And then you do that. But it seems like people are saying, well, we'll figure it out later, a lot more than they should be. And they're also not planning things thoroughly enough in advance. If you plan your script out really well, you won't have to do a whole lot of reshoots. Excuse me. Yeah, you won't have to do, they're not reshoots. You won't have a lot of screw ups like that on set. Right? With knowledge of what it takes to make a film and what scenes are going to be very complicated to film. And you won't have to do that as frequently. It'll still happen, but it'll happen less. Maybe they just need to educate writers more on what it takes to make a movie. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know to me, it seems like the formula for a writing team and a production team is not the same now as it was maybe 30 years ago. And something went wrong because it's not operating the way it should anymore. The productions are not operating the way they should. Detroit, Become Human is a game set in a dystopian future where androids gain sentience and independence, kind of like the movie I, Robot. Oh, nice. I like robot stories. I mean, like okay, never mind. I was going to go off on like what is it? What's the one with the Cylons? What's that movie, that show? I can't remember. I liked that, but that's I just liked the epic that it was telling. It definitely has the feel of an epic. And I'm talking about the more recent one. What the hell is the name of that series? Detroit, Become Human is so good. I'm guessing that's a game. Detroit, Become Human is a video game by a French creator that deals with androids that resemble people. It isn't very good, in my opinion. Bad allegory and lack of verisimilitude. I can't speak. Verisimilitude. Well, everybody's going to have different opinions on stories. I don't know anything about it, so I can't comment. Tahoe Ria Nevada says, I hear HBO's The Last of Us needs new writers. Now that Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross left, you could punch up Craig Mason's face. Pink, drinking tea. Okay. I don't know if anybody would listen to me. Because I have not been in the industry officially ever, like at that level. Like, What am I going to do? Show them like one of the indie films I've worked on? Did you ever watch Highlander? I mean, I guess unless they take books seriously, I have a decent CV in that area. Did you ever watch Highlander, the series? Yes, of course. It has the same failings most 90s shows did, but it's one of my favorite stories. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. The thing you have to remember with 90s stories is a lot of them are going to have great ideas, and that will inspire other ideas, but they're going to be so flawed. So when you watch an older show, there are very few that you can watch, especially shows, because shows back then were not shows today. Today, shows are basically movies back then, except often less well done. Anyway, the idea is this. Watch 90s shows knowing that you're going to watch something that has a lot of cringe stuff in it, and it's still going to be good in other ways that are worthy of consideration or worthy of thinking about when you're watching. Big Dog, the Dawn says, random question, how tall are you? That is a random question. I'm probably taller than I look on a screen. Taller than 5'6". Let's see. I am extremely late, and I'm shorter than 5'11". Let's see. Germ says, I'm extremely late to the chat, but I greatly appreciate your videos on The Last of Us. Thanks. I'd be curious to hear your perspective on the Mass Effect trilogy, one of my all-time favorites. That's another one that people have been suggesting to me, saying that I should really check out Mass Effect. I don't know anything about it, again, and I usually don't play video games, but I'm always interested in suggestions. The best way to send me suggestions is in email form. Doesn't mean I'm going to take it, but it's the best way for me to go and check it out, and at least on my own, because if it's written in the comments, I might not get to it, especially if it's in a live chat comment. I definitely won't get it into live chat because I do this now and then never again. It's too much. I've gone through so many of them already. Let's see. And you can get my email in the description of my videos. It's in the description of every one of my videos. Where am I? That's not for me. That's not for me. Emmanuel saves the world. Resurrection is the brand new Dexter. He essentially rises from the dead. I don't know what that means, but I did like I said, I did like the new Dexter, and I haven't seen the old one. I just knew that I liked and you know what's funny is I was kind of interested in Dexter because I was like, oh, I like Criminal Minds. I'll bet I would like this. But I saw that the actor was the young guy, and I'm interested in the actor. I want to see what becomes of him, because I think he's got a great future ahead of him. So I checked it out, and I was like, oh, I do like this Dexter fellow. He's like, what an interesting protagonist. I mean, obviously, I don't want to have tea with him or anything, but as a character, fascinating. No Man's Sky. That's it. That is the one. So No Man's Sky, I would love to play that game, I think, but I'd probably lose interest if there's no story after a very short time. I'd want to explore planets. Like, I like the idea that people have built these worlds and you get to go and see what they came up with. I think that sounds so cool. But yes, No Man's Sky. That's the one. Thank you, Alvaniel. I hope I said that right. Summit. That sounds like every space game this century. This one is supposed to be humongous. Like, it's a gigantic world. And you get to just explore it however you want, from what I understand. So that was why I was interested. That there's like hundreds of planets, and the planets are fully populated with plants and geography, and you get the idea. Civilizations on some of them. Steven Anderson says, hello, everyone. Well, hello, Steven Anderson. Why does the name Steven Anderson sound so familiar to me? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, well, hello. I don't know if I know you in real life, but you sound familiar. Your name sounds familiar. Derbladi Alvaniel. Yeah, okay, that's not for me. Jaffa says, No Man's Sky. Yes, potentially the space game you mentioned. Yeah, space game I mentioned. Yeah. Aaron Griffin, Detroit Become Human is an interactive story game. Basically, choose your own adventure video game. Sounds cool. Like the Telltale games and Until Dawn, which just has a horrible movie adaptation. Oh, I didn't know about that. Summit. I must be thinking of a different film, because the Army of Darkness film in my brain was a comedy. No, it is a comedy, isn't it? What are we thinking of? But it's a horror sort of fantasy, but also comedy. I think it's all those. That one is not for me. Lori says, yes, Watcher in the Woods. Haha, yes. That movie has a creepy soundtrack, and it doesn't make sense until if you ever get the chance, watch what they were going to do with the ending of Watcher in the Woods. Watch the alternate versions and their explanation behind it, and you will be like, oh my gosh, they made the right choice to not do those. It's so stupid. But the soundtrack suddenly makes sense when you see what their original plan was. Suddenly makes sense. That's a weird example of like they didn't do what they planned to do in the script, but what they ended up doing was so much better. Oh my goodness. I do like that movie though. Cakes. I think The Last of Us season, no script means no rights to source material, I assume. Okay. In that case, we might be stuck with Craig Mazin's writing. I do not have much faith. Was he the one who decided to change Ellie's character? I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. And, you can only take what you hear online with a grain of salt. Otherwise, you're dumb. So if he was making those poor decisions, I would not have faith either. But we'll see what he does, I guess. I think they will make a season 3. I just don't think people will watch much of it. I don't think it'll be a success. I don't think you can with what they did to Ellie's character. And it's not fixable because her part is done at this point. Steven Anderson, Sigourney Weaver was amazing. 1979, Alien was amazing. Yes, and I love Sigourney Weaver. I think her voice is so cool. I don't know I'm sure people, very recognizable. And that's not the only reason I like her. I just like her. She's one of those actresses who I don't know what it is, but just in any movie that she's in, I just enjoy seeing her on screen. I don't know, just like her. Steven Anderson, my high school years, 1976 to 1979. Did you see Alien while you were in high school? Oh man, that would have been so cool to see that in theaters. CW, that's funny. I disliked Weapons, but to say why would spoil it. Don't tell me. I'm not one of those people who I can't handle spoilers. I'm usually okay with them, especially if I have to analyze a story. I don't mind it at all. But if I'm going to watch something for my own enjoyment, I don't want spoilers. If I'm like really into some series, like I would have hated people if they spoiled Harry Potter for me. Like I was one of those people who loved Harry Potter when it came out. I was not embarrassed to be into it at all. And I would have been pissed off if people spoiled the ending for me. But if I'm just analyzing it or if I'm doing it for work, most of the time my clients send me outlines of their stories before I read them anyway. So I know what the ending is going to be. That's how I don't have to do like 5 passes. I can just do the 2, the initial read and then the second analytical read. Disliked Weapons for a similar reason as to why I disliked Barbarian. Okay. I don't know what that means. So Mr. Fan of Gem. Yes. On the same timeline. Are we talking about when I was talking about them 5 perspectives? Okay, got it. All right, so so it's not 5 different perspectives telling the same timeline over and over again. It's the time is moving and you're jumping from a different perspective, one perspective to another as time continues. That's what I'm thinking that means. Alvin Yell, or actually that game was made in a garage, could be Outer Wilds. No. It was definitely the other one. No Man's Sky. It was No Man's Sky. An indie space exploration puzzle game that was also made by a very small team. Nope, wasn't that. It was No Man's Sky. Was thinking Star Citizen. So another one, but pretty sure it's No Man's Sky. Yes, it is. Darren D says, hey nerds, I just went through your The Last of Us vids. Really great stuff. And how about that Foundation season 3 ending? I have not watched the ending yet, so don't tell me. I mean, I haven't been as into season 3 as I was into season 1, and season 2 it was a little off, but I felt like season 3 was doing better. What's interesting is I was the most interested in what Dawn was doing. And then that storyline sort of ended. And I was like, I don't care anymore. It was the first time I had been interested in anyone other than Lee Pace as a character. I always wanted to know what he was doing, even when he was being despicable. But at that point, I was like, oh, I want to see what Dawn ends up doing. And then, yeah, I'm not spoiling anything for anybody. Okay, Darren D, because I saw Der Bloody, that's for somebody else. What do you think? What do I think about what? Oh, about Foundation? I think I just said it. Sorry. Stephen Anderson. I was just playing The Last of Us Part 1 last night. Oh, cool. I could see people playing The Last of Us Game 1 over and over and over again. I think people, I mean, I'm sure they do for Game 2, but me personally, I could see myself wanting to play Game 1 over and over again and just re-experiencing Joel's journey. Darren D. Frankenstein. Right on. Something for Steven? Remake on PC. I think you're talking to Darren D. Oh, no, you were playing the remake on the PC. Got it. Raccoon. Hey, there you are. I haven't seen you around. I was watching and enjoying it somewhat until the I'm gonna be a dad scene. A lot of people, I think, were laughing at that. I mean, it was definitely funny, a funny line. It just felt really out there. It felt like it was supposed to be comedy, and I don't think it was supposed to be comedy. And I mean, there was a lot in that, the adaptation, the HBO season 2, that was cracking me up. Oh my goodness. Darren D. After 3 Foundation seasons, I'm bummed we didn't get any more Dorse Venabili lore from Harry's past. Oh, Harry's past, not Harry. Sorry, not reading properly. Well, I'm not so good with names, but I think Doris is the wife, right? Let me see. Nope, definitely not. Oh, no, you're talking about book lore that has not been touched on at all so far in... Okay. Foundation stuff. I have not read the books all the way through. I'm partway through book 2. But I now have I've got a couple versions of the actual book now. But I do want to finish that. It's not long. Like I should be blasting through it. I'm trying to tackle too many different stories at once. I usually like to just focus on one, blast through it, and then another, and go through it. And I'm jumping around. I don't like this thing that I've done, which is change my MO, and it's not working out. It's an experiment gone awry, and I think I need to just get back to my old ways of just like focus on one story, get it done, move on, then focus on that one. I think I get more done that way. Also, I need to spend less time editing videos. Let's see. Jaffa. The way you describe people watching the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, then going to watch the original series is actually how anime works. The reason why I think you meant lots of anime only get 1 season is to get people to read the manga. Really? Oh, that's kind of sad. I didn't know. I'm not up to speed on a lot of current animes. I'm actually just not really well educated I don't know a whole lot of animes. I probably know more than the average person, but when I say like, oh yeah, I like Full Metal Alchemist and I've seen Frieren, and I was one of those people reading Death Note, like I'm very selective about what I'm even willing to try out. But what were we talking about here? Oh, single season star. Okay, so like here's an example of why this resonated with me. I liked Noragami. I watched the first 2 seasons of the anime of Noragami, and I was like, I want to check out where this is going, because it started doing some interesting storytelling things that made it reconsumable, which is something that interests me. As an editor, I try to hammer into writers the importance of making your material reconsumable. Otherwise, it becomes consume it once, throw it away. But don't you want them to be coming back for more? And hey, I want to reread that story again. You want them to experience it more than the one time, and for it to be valuable on the second read. And Noragami kind of did that for me in the anime. And I was like, I want to read this manga. So I went and I checked out the manga. And although I wasn't quite satisfied with the ending, there were some revelations that would have happened if there was a season 3. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like heartbreaking, and this really is going to be a cool story. I want to see where it goes. I think the manga seems to have ended a little bit weak, but it did some really interesting things that I hadn't seen done. And I wish they had done more seasons of the anime. I don't think they will, though. That's fine. I mean, it's sad, but it's also kind of fine. Maybe they'll do it now that they've finished, now that the manga is done. Because that only finished like, what, a couple years ago or something? I don't know. Let's see. Steven Anderson. I agree. Ellie got worse as game 2 went on, and Abby made changes for the better, taking care of Lev and his sister. Yes. As far as Abby as a character is concerned, the idea that she should be forgivable, that what she did to Joel is somehow like, oh, but she's taking care of Lev and what was the other character? Yara. To me, that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve justice for what she did, or that what she did wasn't heinous, in objectively heinous. Like, there's a reason why we have different levels of punishment for people who commit technically the same crime, because it's not always the same crime. She killed Joel, but she didn't kill Joel the same way that Joel killed her father. Joel killed her father with a bullet to the head, over in, like, done, out. She tortured that guy, which takes a degree of disconnect from humanity. And that's something that would need to be addressed in her character in order for me to say, oh yeah, she totally deserved a second chance, or, she's forgivable for that. And then Ellie crossed that line with Nora. So anyway, and also abandoning Tommy. But anyway, that's a big, long ass discussion. Let's see. Tahoe Rhea, Nevada. Don't know if this has been asked, but are you watching Alien Earth? Okay, a lot of people have been asking me to watch it, including my sister. She said that it's got some retro vibes to it, and I don't know if they're like trying to emulate what Stranger Things did, which the first seasons captured the 80s great. Season 3, what happened? But I have heard good things about it, but I've also heard some bad things about it. I'd be interested in checking it out, though. I am interested in checking it out. And my sister and I are doing a lot of work together, and then we take breaks by watching a cheesy Korean show. I've never watched a Korean show in my life, and this is funny. I'm actually enjoying the one we're watching. It's really stupid, but it's so funny. It's called Business Proposal. And we just sit there and crack up during the whole thing and laugh at it. But I mean, not like it's brilliantly funny. We're laughing at the show, but we're also laughing at ourselves for at the same time kind of just being so entertained by this. But she wanted us to watch Alien Earth at some point. So when we take a break next time, maybe that'll be what we're watching. Let's see. I'm skipping the ones that are addressed to other people. Dare Bloody, have you heard the discussion about how Hollywood struggles to write strong female characters? It's come up again after the success of Netflix's animated K-pop Demon Hunters. I have heard that, of course. It's a big issue that they don't seem to understand how to write likable female characters. And at this point, if they haven't understood the message, I don't know how to help them. There are plenty of great video essays on YouTube about why certain characters are not likable. I mean, I could go through and try to make, take a character and go, oh, this is how you would make this character likable. But a lot of it has to do with the choices that those characters end up making. And unfortunately, if you change a character's choice, you change the story. So again, it's like if I were to go in and fix a story retroactively, I would just change the whole story. They don't seem to want to do with the female characters. I think what you see done with male characters, in that especially if we're following the hero's journey. The hero's journey is an excellent story to apply even to female characters. It's not there just for males. It's there for females as well. Start out as essentially, you're in a world that you think is, this is how it works. You're not the master of your world already. You're in this world. You think you know how it operates, but something comes in to throw a wrench into the machine, and suddenly your world is turned upside down, and you struggle to figure it out. You think you've got it, then you fail, and then you figure it out, and then you overcome whatever shortcomings you yourself had, and you're able to win. Like, it's a pretty basic formula, and there's a lot of different formulas that you can use. The hero's journey, however, is more of a character-based outline for what kind of things does your character need to kind of experience. Never, by the way, I get this question a lot. Should I write according to this formula, according to like the hero's journey, or the 5 beats that you see in the five act Shakespearean 5 act, whatever that, or the beat sheet of Save the Cat. And I always tell people what you should do is you should write your story. And then if you find yourself blocked, or if you're not sure why something isn't working, go check out those outlines and see if it's because you missed a step, or if there's something there that, if I just tweak this a little bit, it'll enhance this moment and that will help it. That's what you should use those for. There are plenty of people who write very successfully by following those formulas, but don't limit yourself to it in the beginning, and I think you'll have more interesting characters. But I think the problem that we're seeing with a lot of female characters right now is that they are not on a hero's journey. We are not seeing anything resembling a hero's journey, and it's hard to resonate with a character that doesn't go through a growth period that we can resonate with, where we see characters being sure of themselves and then suddenly doubting themselves and then acquiring new information. It's not always about, I have to believe in what I've always known about myself, which is a common trait that we see in a lot of female characters. We don't typically learn that lesson in life. We don't learn that, I was a genius when I was in high school. Of course, I should believe the stuff I believed in high school. That's not usually how it works. We usually think we know everything, and then learn the lessons the hard way and come out stronger on the other end as adults who are wiser because of our rough experiences. I think people resonate more with that. And like, look at Mulan as a character. She's like one of my favorite characters in general. Starting out with a lot of self-doubt, and then working really hard, thinking that she's got it, and then facing the realities of the world that she lives in are still not going to work out for her, but she pushes through for the right thing. And in the end, her good actions get recognized by people. That I don't think that people understand that's what her journey is. Sorry, I'm getting off track. I got to stop. I got to focus on what we're doing. Sorry. I completely forgot I'm answering questions or answering comments. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's a good subject. I should remember this. If my sister is still watching, make a note that I should talk about the female characters and what is missing from not all, but many female characters today as heroes, because the hero typically needs to go through a journey of growth. And I think that there's a little bit of fear when it comes to portraying weaknesses in characters, but that's literally what stories are. They are usually, not always, but usually about characters overcoming shortcomings or weaknesses. And sometimes it's about discovering that you have them and then figuring out how to overcome them. Let's see. Jaffa, have you seen the new Superman film? I'd love to know your opinion. I have not, but I really want to, because I happen to be a lover of Superman. I love Superman. Just always have. It's a Christopher Reeve thing. That's my Superman. I know everybody was like, what? Don't you like Henry Cavill? Sorry, Christopher Reeve is Superman, and everybody else is just trying to build off what he built. Well, I mean, I know he's whatever. Moving on. Okay. Not for me. Lynn Rice says, adapting a video game story to an episodic TV show is tricky. I agree. I'm trying to think of an example that does it well, and am having trouble. Well, episodic is the key there. You could have taken a linear story and just chopped it up, and it would have been fine. But instead, they try to make each individual chapter like its own thing, like beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end. I don't know why we haven't just told a story that doesn't have that formula. Like why people are shying away from that so much. I understand the temptation to make each individual episode have its own little arc, but so I'm thinking, well, okay, for an example, the stupid Korean drama that my sister and I are watching. The episodes are not episodic. You do not have a beginning, middle, end, like every little episode is its own story. It's an ongoing, continuous story. And then they just like cut in the middle of a scene, like, okay, this is where we're ending the episode because that's the 52-minute mark and that's where we end it. And then you pick up on the next episode and you're still in it. That's how I think you should do it. I don't think that we should, not every story should be limited to being told in that way when it's adapted. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a wrong idea. I think I went on about that way too much. All right, Summit. Battlestar Galactica. Yes, that was the one. Yes, Battlestar Galactica, Germ. Darren D, a robot epic sounds neat. I think it'd be cool. Lynn Rice, Highlander, the series holds a special place in my heart. Me too. What a great intro, too. That was so badass. I also liked The Crow. I was into Highlander and The Crow. Steven Anderson, I like indie horror games. I don't know much about video games, but I've only recently learned that there are like indie video games out there, but hopefully they're getting more attention. That's what happened in the book publishing world. Indie published books have been getting a lot more attention. And I think it's because they are working harder to be at the same level of quality as traditionally published works, which really is just about editing. That is the big difference between traditionally published novels and indie published novels, is that traditionally published go through a lot more in the editing process, and they're a lot more selective about what they're going to take anyway. But once they do take them, it goes through typically 5 cycles of editing, which is a lot. Most indie publishers will not put their work through that much. That's like typical 5 rounds of editing. It's a lot of time spent just fixing your story, but it makes it worth it. That's why the traditionally published novels still have the renown that they have, even though trad published books there's some problems, but not nearly as many as we see in the pool of indie published books. Darren D, I wish the popped up comments displayed chat emotes. They don't have like emojis? What do you mean chat emotes? Steven Anderson, in the 90s, it was not cringe. True. There are a lot of shows from the 90s that back then were totally awesome, way cool and badass. And now we look at them and cringe. But no, I love 90s shows. What can I say? Okie Native, thank you so much. $5. Really appreciate every tip that I'm getting. Thank you so much. And you've given to me before, so thank you. One indie film nowadays qualifies you to direct a Marvel movie. This is true. What is up with that? Your work would qualify to make a TV show like this and Wheel of Time. Your work would, maybe, but good. I don't know. I would want to be just involved in the script writing. That's it. And I would insist that it gets worked to hell. There are multiple completed drafts, as in draft 1 of the whole series, draft 2 of the whole series, draft 3 of the whole series. It has gone through those rounds multiple times, and they're like, we're basically done. They should be done before they start filming, but I have a feeling it's usually not the case. They are usually still writing when they are already scheduling scenes. And that's just, why do they do that? I don't understand. I would love for somebody who's in the film industry. Actually, I should just ask my friend, why does that happen? Because I'm pretty sure my friend would be on the same boat with me, but there's got to be a reason why it's not done that way. Okay. Aaron Griffin, do you think they should spend, again, Okie Native, thank you for that tip. Aaron Griffin, do you think they should spend the money adapting these very cinematic games into movies or shows rather than making a watchable version of the story for non-gamers? Oh, I see what you mean. Like what we see on YouTube, like the playthroughs. I don't see, okay, I'm not against adaptations. I've never been against adaptations. I think they're great. It's a way for you to share the story with people who would not dive into whatever medium was originally used to convey the story. So my mother would absolutely never watch an anime in her life, ever. And I've said this story many times in my live streams. She would never watch an anime. But by herself, she watched One Piece, the live action on Netflix, multiple times by herself and adored it. And I'll never get her to sit down and watch the anime. I mean, I've watched the anime, the first, I don't know, 10 or 20 episodes. I'm not really interested in watching the anime either, but I loved the live action and she loved it. And now she and my nephew and my brother-in-law can talk about One Piece like they all know the same characters, because they do, because she's seen it. She's seen a faithful adaptation of the story and the characters, and now she can connect with them. And I love that. I love being able to share stories like that. So when it comes to this question, should they make shows? I think they should. I don't see any reason not to. I just wish that they would be able to do it in a way that is both faithful to the story and the characters and still works on screen. And I think that's possible. You know why I think it's possible is because season 1 of The Last of Us was pretty good television. I didn't like what they did with Ellie, and it doesn't actually match what they did in the game. But for the most part, they got the idea down that they go on this long journey. They meet characters along the way that cause Joel to kind of open up, and that they did that. So I liked that. Anyway, okay, we're going to keep going. We are getting into our 3rd hour here. Apollo Valjean says, Amber has never held a game controller, but she knows about stories. Yes, this is true. I mean, I have held a game controller, but I was seriously like, I'm doing it like this. Like, that's me. It's going, I have to hit the X button. Oh, where's the freaking X button? Okay, it's there. Yeah, like that is me playing a video game. Oh, actually, okay, I did play Nintendo 64 back when Nintendo 64 first came out, because I remember when that happened. My neighbor had Nintendo 64, and I was like, I have to be allowed to play this video game. We didn't have video game controllers in my house until after I was already in college. So, or not video game controllers, but video game consoles until after I was in college. And then not, because then I moved out. So no video games. But anyway, Dare Bloody. I expected the Witcher show to be more like Xena or Hercules, the legendary Journeys said. You know what's funny is I saw a clip of the new season, and my first impression was, this feels like I'm watching an old Sci-Fi Channel show. I was a little embarrassed for the show, but I mean, there's plenty of people watching. Otherwise, I don't think they would have made this 4th season without Henry Cavill, especially. But anyway, Aaron Griffin. Mass Effect is a long game series with multiple ways to play, but they are making it into a show. Oh, good to know. I'll see. Now I'm more interested, because I like to focus on adaptations. To me, that's really interesting. Let's see, because it's like seeing a draft 1 and a draft 2. What choices are you making in draft 2? I usually only see the first draft, because most people don't take the time to do rewrites. They just do the one draft. I edit it, and then you never see it again. So it's fun for me to see a second draft when it comes out, or a final draft, or in the case of an adaptation, it's like another draft of the story. Darren D, you say you have smidgens of interest trying to play 3 games. Do any stick out for you? I think I've said the ones that do. The other thing is that there has to be something about the character, or the world has to be either fantastic or beautiful, or I have to really be interested in the character. I tried out The Last of Us because it was super easy for me to just, let's try the first episode. And then it was also my friend Randy and his daughter. She loved the game and assured us it's really good. You're going to love it. Let's give the show a try. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we watched them and critiqued them as we went. And I for the most part, liked it. But I had to have that recommendation from somebody whose taste in storytelling I know and I trust, and I know what to expect if it's like, okay, because like Randy's a little bit more forgiving than me. Not a little bit more. He's a lot more forgiving than I am on certain things. But this was something that both he and his daughter, especially his daughter, was really, really interested in. And so I wanted to give it a try. If it's got an adaptation that's coming out, I'm more inclined to give it a shot only because I know that enough people think that this will be a hit with a large audience. So I'm going, okay, maybe it's worth taking a look at. And I know that seems like it's a bad way to judge storytelling, and I don't recommend it to people. But remember, I'm consuming stories a lot. I'm currently working with just 2 clients, but that's where one client's been ongoing for a while, and then when the other one is done, they will move on, and I will take on the next one in this long line of people who I've got waiting to read manuscripts. Like, I consume a lot of stories, and so when I'm going to spend my free time watching something or listening to something or reading something, which I don't really sit and read much in my free time, sadly, because my eyes get tired of reading text all day. I want it to be recommended by somebody I know and trust, or that I know what they like and I can give it a shot. Like, I would never watch a Korean drama in my life ever. I would never on my own. Like, I just no interest, unless it's a historical drama, because those kind of things interest me. And they don't have a whole lot. Korean historical dramas, there aren't a whole lot of those, not compared to like the Chinese dramas. They love those. But my sister was like, you should try this one. It's hilarious. And I know my sister's sense of humor. And I was like, okay, I feel like feeling the way that she does. So I'm going to give it a shot with her. And that's why we've been enjoying it. I think that's probably the same for most people. You don't just take a recommendation from somebody who says it. You kind of want it to be somebody you know and trust. Reynaldo Sanchez Castillo. The young Dexter is the new James Bond in 07 First Light, a video game? A video game? You mean he does the voice and the motion capture? Is that what's happening here? Because I like that actor. Okay. Skipping this one because it's not for me. Aaron Griffin. Nier Automata is a game you should watch. God tier music, fun characters, great action. There is anime adaptation too, which is also amazing. I've never heard of that one. That name is totally unfamiliar to me. Big Dog the Dawn. Ellie's character is done. Thanks to Neil. She was unlikable in The Last of Us too. At this point, I do not care about The Last of Us. I'm very sad to hear that. But I think it's probably true for a lot of people. For me, she was done in the show right off in episode 1 of season 2, which was shocking. In the game, I didn't see her really falling until she decided to leave Tommy. We saw the signs of it when she tortured Nora, but when she decided to leave Tommy, I feel like that was the big turning point. I was like, who are you? So, Summit. No, Foundation spoilers. Amber just reminded me I haven't finished it yet, and my buddy told me the ending was great, and season 4 has been approved. What? I thought that season 3 was all they're doing. Where are your sources? Somebody tell me, is Foundation getting a season 4? I need to know. NGC just joined. What's going on? A lot. We're talking about basically everything. Do you like Korean comedy romances? Because we talked about that at one point. And then video games a lot. Apollo Valjean. Okay, so Jean Valjean. I am an engineer, but I had to read it for, I think you meant French, not French. A level, A level. I think you meant A level. Jean Valjean. Okay, got it. Apollo. For Americans, you pronounce it Valjean. Okay, I think we got it. Tahoe Rhea, Nevada. The Last of Us is my favorite game series, and personally wouldn't change a thing. Season 2 of the show, however, yeah, I agree. Anyway, I also love your deconstructions of the show and games. Both can be true. Yeah, I do hope that people don't stop liking the show. I know I got a lot of negative comments, but I don't mind. I mean, every comment actually helps my videos, so sure. But I like debate. If somebody wants to challenge what I say about a character, please do. I'm always interested to hear it. But you gotta provide some concrete evidence, or it's not going to convince me. Just saying, well, I think it means this. Explain why. Like, what evidence do you have to support your thinks on that, your thoughts on that, and that will affect how I think about it. Or that is what I need in order to have my opinion changed. Because people have totally done that. Like in the Wheel of Time, Was it in the Wheel of Time? I can't remember. I think it was the Wheel of Time. Maybe it was The Last of Us. I don't remember. But people have changed my mind on things that I have said in videos. And it takes providing the evidence that either I missed or I wasn't aware of. Doing that will have more impact on my thoughts about what I said before than just saying, I think it means this, or my interpretation is. And if you go to college, you're going to need to use concrete evidence or they won't buy your arguments in literature when you're studying literature. Like every essay, where is your evidence for this? Show me in the text where you got this from. I'm like, believe me, I had to fail plenty of papers before it finally got in my head that I was like, oh, that's what they mean by concrete evidence. So I've learned I was not always so stuck on those either. Let's see. Billy Jeans is not my over. There must be some typos in there. Sorry, Valjean. Robert Cabus. Hey, have I already heard one from you? I haven't seen you around. Evening. Well, good evening, Robert Cabus. Oh, yeah. This is you saying hello. Hello. Apollo Valjean, The Last of Us, has had too much attention, in my humble opinion. From me or in general. Excuse me. Darren D, thank you for the tip. $5. Very much appreciated. Funny story. I never read books on my own in school until book reports were required. That was me too for a long time. Foundation enters the room. Doris V came in a later prequel. Okay, got it. Yeah, so you know, I didn't even know that Foundation was more than a trilogy until just recently. For some reason, I always just thought it was the trilogy because my grandmother really loved Foundation. And so I knew what the story was about in general in the trilogy. I know what the story is doing. But then I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, there are so many books, which is a little daunting because then I was like, oh, do I have to read all of them to know what the references are not know what the references are in the show, but be able to make a valid criticism of the show as an adaptation? And I think I do. But I also think they're just taking a lot of liberties and having this take place in basically the Foundation universe or a Foundation inspired universe. What I have to applaud the show for doing is not claiming that they are like an accurate adaptation or they are the adaptation, which is something that a lot of people had problems with in the Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, they claim that they are adapting the books and they're clearly doing their own thing. I don't think Foundation ever made that claim unless I'm unaware of some interview out there, but they're taking, it seems to be, a lot of liberties. Like I said, I've read the first book and I think like more than half, and they're definitely taking a lot of liberties, but I don't think they've ever claimed that they were going to adapt exactly what's in the book because so far you could not adapt what's in the books into a show exactly because people would lose their minds being bored. They'd be like, why am I watching this show that's supposedly a space epic, but everything happens off screen? That's what the books are like. So anyway, okay. So Doris V came in a later prequel. So I'm glad that you like Foundation. If anybody doesn't know, Foundation was basically the first space epic where you had interplanetary, like basically an interplanetary government. The fall of an empire like this, Star Trek, Star Trek, yeah, kind of, but mainly Star Wars and Dune took their cues from Foundation. Foundation was the first one to really do this kind of story. Let's see. CH, Alien Earth. So many stupid people making stupid decisions. So basically your run-of-the-mill horror. I cringe so much. Oh, really? I hate that. That's one thing that they do a lot in horror is have people make stupid decisions where you're like, don't go into the woods by yourself, you idiot. And what did you think was going to happen? Basically that. But we should all split up. Yes, sure. Yeah, you should. Nothing bad ever happens to people when they split up. Oh my gosh, dumb. I would love a single player DLC story of Abby and Lev in between certain chapters of the game, similar to Left Behind. Yeah, that'd be cool. I could think that would be really cool. They should do that. Why not? They did DLCs for the first game. Have they done any for the second? Aaron Griffin, I forgive Abby. I personally think Joel, Abby, and Ellie did no wrong. Joel was just saving his daughter. True. Abby was avenging her dad and the cure, which wouldn't work. Yeah, you have to add that caveat. That's a problem. And Ellie was avenging Joel. If Abby had just executed Joel, that would be different than what actually happened. I might be more on like, okay, I get it. She just avenged her father, but that's not what she did. She didn't just avenge him. I guess if you add and the cure, but I don't believe the cure at all. It's unfortunate. There's too many little like things that you have to add in as variables to your decision on whether something works or doesn't work, to the point that it's like it's too much to take in and still work. It just can't. Not saying you can't still enjoy it. Apollo Jovan, tell me about the Shakespearean 5-act. I'm just going to tell you to go look it up. There's plenty of essays on it. It's the 5-act structure as opposed to the 3-act structure. Just look into that and you'll learn a lot. Sorry, I got to get through all these comments here, and that's like an essay. I sort of liked The Last of Us too, but Ellie sparing Abby at the end didn't make sense. Her having that flashback of Joel after losing her fingers just to spare Abby felt so forced. Mirai Memento, you are not wrong. I think that was very dissatisfying for a lot of people. And I think I mentioned it in my video that it does feel like a Deus Ex Machina, that this thing happened that for some reason stopped her from doing this. And especially if you were killing a lot of people on your way to Abby, and then you get to Abby, the main thing you're trying to kill, and decide not to because of this memory that you've always had in your head and for some reason didn't think of before this moment, it feels very, very forced. Let's see. Skipping the ones that are not for me. Tahoe, Nevada. That's a completion to a comment, not for me. Forget The Last of Us. Amber just told us about the Shakespearean 5-act. Go look it up. Pokemon, great video game adaptation. Okay, hang on. Let me find. Okay, there's too many. Just look through YouTube and you will find plenty of video essays on the 5-act structure. And it'll break it down and give you great examples, and you'll like it. Let's see. Sorry, Aaron Griffin. That'll explain it all. Aaron Griffin, Pokemon, great video game adaptation. The greatest video game adaptation ever? I don't know about that. I've seen a few Pokemon episodes, but it's been a long time. I did not watch the show. Mr. Bear, you going to watch the Expedition 33 story playthrough? I don't know. I've mentioned it a few times. People are sending me the name in an email. I will look into what it is, but I don't know if I'll check it out. CW, quick thoughts on A Song of Ice and Fire, if you read it. I've read a few of the books. Not all of them though. And that was really just because I was busy with things, I think. But I've seen the entire show, which I know deviates after season, I think it's 5 or 6. I can't remember how many seasons there are at this point. Quick thoughts. I really hope we get the complete story someday, but outlook is grim. I do think that there are plenty of writers out there who could finish the story for George R. R. Martin. I don't think it's Brandon Sanderson. Anybody who's saying that, I think they're nuts. I don't have anything against Brandon Sanderson. I just don't think the fit is there. I don't think he fits that. But I think there's plenty out there that could take the story on and continue it to the end. It'd be great to hear what he has in mind. He describes himself as a gardener. He's created characters and settings and situations, and then lets the clock start working. He lets it just play out and sees where it goes naturally. That's why his character arcs are so not satisfying, but they're interesting and believable. But I'd be interested to know if he has a plan for what he wants to do towards the end. Like, does he have an ending? I liked Hello Future Me's ending. I have a great amount of respect for Hello Future Me as a creative writing essayist, especially on world building, which is his specialty. Go check out his essays. He's really, really interesting, better than any college essay in creative writing I've ever taken. And he has rewritten the ending of Game of Thrones, and I think it was very good. The only thing I think that they should have done that they didn't is, instead of the Battle of Winterfell happening where it does, you should have that should be the last battle. It is the most important battle. Nobody gives a crap about the Iron Throne when the end of the world has been solved. Like they've figured that problem out. It's like, who cares? You guys just saved the world. No final battle after that is going to beat the one for the survival of humanity. They should have had the battle at Winterfell be the last one. So what should have happened is, when Winterfell is all fortifying itself and getting ready for battle and waiting for the enemy to appear, the enemy shouldn't appear. It should be that they just went straight onto King's Landing and wiped out King's Landing. And now they've got all of King's Landing as part of the army, and they're coming back for Winterfell. That would have been great. Wouldn't have entirely made sense why these zombies would have gone for King's Landing first, but the what is the name of the kings that are not the kings, but the leaders of the White Walkers? There's, what are they? I can't remember what they're called. Maybe whatever. But those guys, the leader guys, the ones that you kill them and then all of the ones that they resurrected would die. They seem to have enough intelligence and awareness to think strategically like that. So I guess I could believe it that way. Anyway, okay, sorry. Got to keep going. Oh my gosh, freaking comments. I keep forgetting. Claire Obscure is an indie game. Yes, we've talked about that. Oh, no, we didn't talk about it being an indie game. Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. That might be why I've never heard of it before, because it's an indie game, and so people, maybe not as many people have played it. Tahorea? Technically. Okay, guys are talking. Der Bloody. Do you have a favorite horror creature or monster, and why? Not from like a horror story. I call it the Creeping Doom. It's a genre of bad guy or whatever. It is a slow moving, unstoppable force, basically, that is a creeping doom. You know it's coming, and you have no idea how you're going to stop it. Like the White Walkers, for instance, the bad guy, the zombie army in Game of Thrones. I could not see how you could possibly do this. Like, as was demonstrated, you cut off an arm and the arm is still moving. There's no way to stop this army. You die and it increases their power. The creeping doom that is not on the forefront, but is slowly getting closer and slowly taking over. I love that. See, the problem with The Last of Us, not the problem. It's not a problem. It's just a different kind of bad guy. The thing about The Last of Us is that it was a sudden overnight takeover, basically. The whole world just fell to the infected right away. And so you didn't get that effect of like the creeping doom. And that's what I like. I've also liked the Borg. I think is terrifying because that's a type of creeping doom. It's like a spreading thing. And again, it's like sever apart and it can become a whole. I like that too. Silence Game. You're beautiful. Well, thank you. Believe me, I try really hard. I mean, I don't wake up looking like this. I got mountains of makeup on my face right now to make me look presentable to the public. Let's see. Robert Cabus. Thank you. $10. All right. Oh, I'm only just now starting to realize that the little thing here where it tells you how much somebody's donated, it's color coded depending on how much you give. I'm learning. I'm just learning. So you get the gold tier. Thank you so much. $10 tip. Very generous. Let's see. There is only one perfect video game adaptation, the live action Super Mario Brothers. Yes, the movie is terrible, but every time I see it on, I have to sit down and watch it. Are you talking about the old one with what is his name? Come on, the guy who did Sid's voice in Ice Age, that guy. That's a movie that I have seen. I think that's the one that you mean. Or do you mean the computer graphic one? I actually went to theaters to see that one with my nephew. I thought it was going to be like Pixar. I was like, oh, this will be fun. Everybody says it's great. And I got there and I was like, this is for little kids. And I'm sure that people who've played the games a bunch of times really loved it. And I could get into it because I recognized a lot of the sound effects and the music and I was into that. But it was a story that didn't have the dimensions that some of the old Pixar movies had. And I was disappointed because of that. But it was a cute movie. But the old Super Mario Brothers, the live action, if that's the one you're talking about, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that like since it came out. It's been a long, long time. But I do remember watching that one. So goofy. That was back in like the old not Danny Elfman. Who's the other guy? Tim Burton Batmans. Let's see. Darren D. It's 90s. Again, Robert Cabus, thank you very much for that tip. It's 90s classic, wholesome cringe. Can't go wrong. If you're talking about Super Mario's the original, yes. There's so much there. I think I've already talked about them. Palette cleanser shows in movies. I mean, it's usually shows, but movies too. But usually shows that I watch, and they're not good. They're objectively very flawed. But they're typically from the 90s or something that just it's not going to work, but there's something about it that you just love. And yeah, I do like a lot of the 90s wholesomeness. It's so sloppy, but I just still love it. Nostalgia. You do actually get used to controllers. I didn't take up gaming until after I turned 40. I'm 53 and still play a couple of times a week. Okay. I mean, I could see myself I'm pretty adaptable. The thing is it's also the idea of sitting there to do something. My jobs are all seated. I sit to do office work. I sit to do reading. I sit to do editing. When I say edit, it's funny because when I say reading, that's what I mean. Manuscript editing, which is mostly reading. But I sit to edit videos. I sit to do a lot of what I do. And the last thing I want to do is sit and play a video game. This is why I'm into fencing and ballet. Like it's something physically active. And when people say, oh, it's very thrilling to play a video game, I was like, is it as thrilling as somebody actually trying to stab you with a sword? Because that's the thing I do to not be sitting. So, I mean, I'm not putting down video games at all. I'm just saying I'm not going to be more inclined to sit and play a video game than I am to go on the strip and bout with somebody that I think could totally kick my ass. And I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to kick their ass instead and probably still lose. I like fencing people who I know are better than me because any accomplishment at all is very rewarding. That's how you get better. Okay. Let's see. I gotta focus. Oh my gosh, I must be so behind. There is no need for historical drama. I don't know where that came from. Nier Automata is the most depressing game I've ever played in a good way. Oh no. I don't know if I want to play a depressing. Okay, depressing in a good way. Cathartic, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Hang on. I'm an electrical engineer. I am a huge consumer of fiction. Okay. What conversation? Are you guys having conversations that are not just in the comments I'm seeing here? You enhance it for me, not just games, but literature. My goodness, you are very busy in the comments here, Jean Valjean. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or other people here. An A allele, it's at Adavamps level. Okay, okay. Oh, you're talking now about wizarding stuff. I see OWLs and NEWTSs, ordinary wizarding levels. Got it. It mean I can speak French. Oh, you can speak French or French. You're typing too fast there, buddy. You got to slow down. Your high school. We have 2 stages of dropout. Huh? I don't know what you're saying here, but I am a high school dropout. If people didn't know. Cyclops. There is another good anime adaptation. Oh, there is another good adaptation, kind of like an adaptation of the game called Cyberpunk. It was a good show with pretty well written characters, though the pacing may throw people off. Based original soundtrack. I think I've heard of Cyberpunk. I mean, I've heard of the genre, but I mean, I think I've heard of the game Cyberpunk, but I haven't heard of I don't know what else you're talking about. I guess it's an anime of Cyberpunk. Maybe that's where I've heard of it. Maybe I heard of the anime. 'Cause I've heard a few. I know less about video games than I do about anime, but I don't know a whole lot about anime. I'll like have heard of it. Like my nephew just recently got into Demon Slayer, so I know about that a little bit. I mean, I've seen the first episode, I think, but none more. I don't even know if I've seen the whole first episode. I think I saw the first like half of the first episode, but I know people love it. I recognize the cosplays and stuff at Comic-Cons. I know I don't go to Comic-Cons anymore, but I used to go and help work at booths and things. Valjean is a failure who became a success. Oh wait, my goodness. I don't know what if you're talking to me. Who then got old and failed again? Are we talking about character arcs? Robert Cabus, the Foundation series gets weird with the later books. I'm sure it does. A lot of people who were writing novels and science fiction in the early days tended to go into some really bizarre, almost you feel, I don't know if does the same thing as like the Dune books did, but they get very odd. Let's see. Apollo Valjean. When I was wee, I thought Captain Kirk was the be all and end all. I love Captain Kirk. I like Captain Kirk too. I love Picard more only because, I wouldn't say only because, but he definitely reminds me of my grandfather. By the way, love the cool The Last of Us thumbnail for this live. I'm replaying the games with the bonus features. So it's not the final thumbnail. I have a thumbnail guy who does my thumbnails for me. And he was unable to get it done before I was advertising for this. So I do have a new thumbnail from him that will go up, but I might use that image again later in the future. Let's see. Hero Neo. It might make more sense if they make Ellie look at Lev for a moment, then spare Abby. Oh, I would like that. Like Lev is the one who makes her think twice, except that she threatened to kill Lev if Abby didn't fight her. So you see what I mean by like you can't just fix one thing. I don't know if I've said that in this live stream yet, but I know some other videos I've said you can't just fix one thing because it may affect something that happened before that. When you have a story that is this complicated, like what The Last of Us is, it's not going to be just one fix to fix everything. It's going to have to be a whole lot of fixes, and so much so that you're basically going to have a different story at the end of the day. It'd almost be better to just wipe the whole thing clean. But if it still works as a game, then fine. And that's great. I don't think it's going to work out that well as a show without major changes. Hero Neo also says, still wouldn't help the story much. I think, yeah, we just discussed that. So yeah. Robert Cabus, I never played the second The Last of Us game, but based on Amber's reviews, it essentially boils down to the old saying, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Yeah, I mean, it definitely covers more than this, but if you were going to simplify the story down to its basics, it's about how violence begets violence, and the only way to stop it is to forgive. That is the foundation of all other themes on top of it. Prater Zinn. All the usual suspects to finish A Song of Ice and Fire. Daniel Abram, Ty Franck, the duo. I don't know if I said that name correctly. The duo that is James S. and A. Corey. Or if that's James S. A. Corey. I don't know. That's the Expanse guy. Joe Abercrombie. I don't think Sanderson. I don't know enough about those other guys to make any comments. Probably James Corey, but I don't know about his writing style. It's been a while since I've read the first novel. Joe Abercrombie, probably, but again, I haven't read enough of his to know what he does with his characters long term. But I liked what he did. I can't remember the name of the book. Either way, I think that because he writes in the genre closest to A Song of Ice and Fire, he'd probably be a good candidate. They've all said that they wouldn't do it if asked. Really? Oh, why did I bother saying all that stuff I just said? I should have read your whole comment first. I'm sorry about that, Praterson. Wow, you really know your stuff. George R.R. Martin. Me? I don't really know. I don't. Are you talking to me? You can't be talking to me. I don't, because I definitely don't know George R. R. Martin. Apollo Valjean, Arizona is Arizona. Oh, in French. I would believe that. Arizona, I believe. I don't remember what the origin of the word of Arizona is. Oh, I should know, shouldn't I? I am an Arizonan. What I like about Amber is, oh, thank you, is she is all about the literature and super smart. No, I'm not. I'm always learning. I am less learned and familiar with literature than I would like to be. And it's because I spend all my time reading manuscripts. It's not the same as being able to read literature. Not that I would be all that into the literature of academia, transformative literature, etc. I've never really been super into it. I would read it just to say I've read it, and I've teased my brain or tried to bend it in some way, but I don't enjoy it. I love immersive, reconsumable stories, and I don't care what medium is used to tell them. I prefer written, like novels, but I just love stories. I love characters. I love being so immersed that I feel like I am having an experience with the characters. Misty Beard. They are Telltale games that are visual novels for the living dead. Oh, there are Telltale games. So I gotta reposition because my butt is falling asleep. Putting a pillow under my butt. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Oh my gosh, we've been going over 3 hours. I should probably zing to the end of this. Let's see. I am not a YouTuber. I'm an engineer. I'm a consumer. I am a YouTuber, and I'm a book editor, so I consume a lot. But I still consider myself a consumer. Winter Rose. It's 1 a.m. in the UK. I need to get my eldest off to college, high school in the US, early in the morning. So I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Good night, Winter Rose, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying up so late to join us. Don't worry, you can catch the end of this easily just by, going back and watching again, because this will be uploaded right away. I don't think I'll get cut off. I don't think anybody will cut this video. I heard you can get blocked after uploading. I don't think I've done anything to do that. Apollo Valjean, it's 5,700 hours. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. Not 5,700. My brain is off right now. I've been doing this too long, 3 hours. It's very early in the morning for you. Let's see. Who knew? You have more than one UK fan. I guess I do, yeah. By the way, BT Arizona. Don't know what that is. BT. Jaden Lamb, since you like the creeping doom concept, have you seen the movie It Follows? I have not. At first, I thought you were just going to say It, and I was like, I know what It is, and I have no interest. It's just not for me. It Follows? I have no idea. I've never heard of it. You like bad shows, so Supernatural fan? Actually, I've seen a lot of Supernatural and really enjoyed it. This was back when it was airing. I don't think I've seen it all the way to the end, but yeah, I loved it. It was a good one to just have on, and you don't have to think. You can just sit back and enjoy. And if you miss an episode, unless it was like one of the pivotal character episodes, you could just kind of jump in whenever. I like that. That's kind of like a palate cleanser, except it wouldn't be a palate cleanser for me. Palate cleanser usually is a little more cheesy or brainless and goofy or fun or something like that. Silence Game. Like, okay, I've used Little House on the Prairie has been a palate cleanser for me. It's so wholesome and cheesy, but I still love it. It still does some things really well. Let's see. Silence Game. Watch the 100% of Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough and see what is good or bad about it. I think that's what she meant. Okay. Joel Miller. Asimov tried to merge the Foundation and Robot series. Oh no, did he? It's always a bad idea. The only time I've ever seen it done well, but it was a secret sequel. Secret sequels are great. It was Split being the sequel to, oh, come on, what was the first one? It wasn't Glass. Come on, what was the first one? Unbreakable. I was one of the Unbreakable fans. Like when nobody loved that movie, I was like, I love this movie. It's so good. And then Split, I wish that I had known that Split was something I should see in theaters, because I just didn't go see it. I was like, oh, I love Shyamalan, but I'll just wait till it comes out. And I wish I'd seen it in theaters, because I would have been flipping out at that ending. I would have been flipping out. I didn't enjoy Glass, unfortunately. It felt kind of unsatisfying. I still have a lot of faith in Shyamalan. I like the way he operates too. Kind of self-funds his stories. I got to respect that a lot. Not completely, but a lot. He puts his money where his ideas are. And he's like, if this is my show, my movie, I'll pay for it. I got to respect that. Let's see. Jean Valjean, Apollo Valjean, whatever. Jean Valjean, you are a book editor. Yes, I am. That is my job. Joel Miller. And Asimov wrote prequels because he didn't know how to continue the story after Foundation and Earth. Ow. That's sad. That kind of, ouch. I didn't know that. As far as I knew before recently, it was just the trilogy. So to learn that there was a lot more and I've never heard of it, this might be the explanation, that it's stuff that wasn't really planned for or thought through. Sorry, there's people shouting in my house right now. Okay. Let's see. Silence Game. I liked the game Star Wars Outlaws, just saying. Nothing wrong with it. Let's see. Joel Miller. Abby's psychotic obsession with violence is not the normal revenge story. It isn't. And I mean, just because it's not the normal revenge story, that doesn't mean that it's not a good story. I don't really understand what the purpose of Abby was. She felt like it felt like an incomplete arc, and yet it was the one that got the most development in game 2. It's very bizarre. A lot to talk about there. Silence Game. Thank you for your time. You are amazing. See you next time. Seattle, Washington. Hey, stay warm up there. I know the season's starting to change. Oh, Seattle. It's funny now that I've seen The Last of Us Game 2. Whenever I think of Seattle, I just think of it being rainy and cold and miserable. But the only time I've ever been to Seattle, I've only just like barely spent a day or two there. I remember it being gorgeous weather. It was sunny and cool, and everything was green and flowers everywhere. So I have to replant that memory in my head. It's not rainy and miserable all the time. All right. Never had your gift. I can do math. I used to be quite good at math. I haven't done it in so long, but I was an astrophysics major before I switched to writing, because I realized as much as I was good at math, but I didn't love it. And I loved creative writing and I wanted to do that. And then my advisor in university said, actually, you shouldn't do creative writing because nobody respects that. You should just do English literature. And I was like, okay, that was a mistake. Do not get your advice for what classes to take in school from, or what degrees to get from the advisors. Get your advice from people who are working in the industry you want to work in. So go to the people doing what you want to do and say, I want your job. How do I get that job? And they will tell you. Most people are very willing to explain their story and how they got to where they are. And I've met too many people who made similar mistakes to myself and ended up getting a degree that didn't help them. So talk to people doing what you want to do and ask them, what do I need to do to have your job? I recently found out that at this point, I wouldn't even need to go to school to get the job that I wanted. So what a waste. Anyway, I paid for my school as I went. I worked like 3 jobs and went to school full time. I'm a bit of a workaholic. My idea of free time is, what can I get done during this time? Free from what? There is no freedom. Rakuten. Oh, that's funny. Wearing a freedom shirt at the same time as I say that. Raccoon, have you seen the anime Code Geass? I don't know if that's Geass. I'm not sure how you say that. I have not. I've heard it's quite good though, by many people over many years. I just haven't seen it. I've seen, I mean, images of it, but I haven't watched it. No, I'd recommend it. I will, as you said, I will recommend it. I will keep that in mind. Yet again, I'm being recommended Code Geass. Is it Geass? I don't know how you say it. Geass? Valjean, I can tell. I don't know what you're talking about there. Let's see. Lori, enjoy all you've done and do. Keep on keeping on. I will. I promise. I like doing this. I do like doing the channel. Have to spend less time in the editing room. People who've seen my Wheel of Time videos know I like to add a lot of editing to them. I'm cutting back on that forever because, I mean, I may have the occasional video where I pay attention to that. It just takes forever. It takes way too long. And I don't have that time in life, and I would like to spend more time consuming stories rather than editing videos on a timeline. It's very boring. Praderson, it is probably my favorite book. It's just so well written. Even the way it's structured, it's not just a horror book. It's like 7 of the best coming of age stories ever. Are you talking about It by Stephen King? Yeah, Stephen King it's interesting. He's actually many of his books are very good in that way, in that they're more than just about the horror genre or thriller genre, whatever it is that he's writing about, which is why he's so successful and has been, because he understands that you shouldn't just write a story like that and have it be about the surface level things like being horrified or scared or disgusted. He gives it something more. See, this is why I like, what's his name? We were just talking about him. M. Night Shyamalan. Another reason I like his stories is he understands that it's more than just about making my audience feel fear or feel a thrill. I appreciate that. Signing off. Okay, or I'm not signing off first. Oh, Valjean. Sorry. You've got a lot of comments in here, dude. Apollo Valjean, Kiddo, Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm having trouble reading. It's a Vizio game. What you offer is more than that. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. You must be having some wine or something. Although I know English, at least I think you've said that English is not your first language. So I'm so sorry. You're typing so fast. Take your time. Take your time. Robert Cabus, Glass was disappointing. Yeah, it was. It was very disappointing. I think it's probably partially because it was trying to tie in the other 2 stories too much. Should have just done its own thing, sort of like how Split did. It was its own story, and then at the end, it's like, aha, we're part of the same universe. I think you break the cycle by tying in the other 2 stories too hard in the 3rd movie. That's kind of like why The Last of Us 2, I think, disappointed a lot of fans of the first game, because it was completely different. The genre, the style of storytelling was so different. That in itself is going to repel a lot of fans of the first story. It's a different type of story. No, I want inside baseball. American sports is violent in British sports. What are you even talking about anymore? What are you going to review next? So I've talked about this a couple of times. I'm sort of up in the air. I think I've somewhat settled on, I want to do a fun video just to start on saving Jar Jar Binks. Oh, Diamond A. Forgot to say your name. Oh, nice little drawing. Is that your drawing in the profile picture? That's cool. Good job. You're very detailed in the hair. Yeah, so I'm going to do a story on how to turn obnoxious a video on how to turn obnoxious characters into likable or endearing characters. And I'm going to try to save Jar Jar Binks, which might be impossible, but I'm going to try. Why not? It'll be a fun exercise. And then I'm looking at stories like Foundation, possibly The Witcher, Severance. I'm not going to do episode by episode full watch through discussions like that. Oh, I'm also going to finish my Wheel of Time stuff. I've already, as a matter of fact, that'll be probably the next video I do along with my Saving Jar Jar Binks. But I'm not going to do the episode by episode like that anymore, or I'm going to try not to. because it's too time consuming and it's a bit daunting. It is also a battle with the algorithm. I get my videos blocked a lot because I put video footage in there, but it's very boring if I'm just sitting there in front of my bookshelf doing like, oh, I'm talking about this thing, and people don't want to sit there and stare at that. I guess I could listen to it, but anyway. Okay, here we go. Joel Miller says, Seattle is just full of WLFs and Seraphites. No thanks. Yeah, nice. That's funny. To folks who live in Seattle and jump into my comments, you will forever be the Last of Us 2 setting to me. Sorry. But I'm going to try and replace it. I stayed in Squim at a lavender farm in Squim called Purple Haze. And I love lavender. So I will try to implant. I know it's not Seattle, but I will try to take Squim, which is, I think, in not Washington, but in Oregon. I'll try to reassociate with Seattle through that, because that was when I passed through Seattle, was on my way to Squim. Okay, here we go. Apollo Valjean. This thing would not happen with the snatching. What are you even talking about, man? I work in green energy. Oh, okay. You're an engineer in green energy. Very cool. Prater Zin. Code Geass. Gios. Oh, there we go. Gios. The second word is pronounced Gios. Rhymes with floss. Got it. Is it Gios or Gia? Okay. I get it. I think I get it. I'll have to just listen to it. But yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that it's good. Dmitry Vasechko. Basically, The Last of Us show created a multiverse with how different it is. So we could, in theory, get an alternative story for part 2 in any form. It did kind of, didn't it? The show. It definitely feels like they changed so much. It might as well be a multiverse. Let's see. Sorry. I am both hungry and feeling a little tired here. And we've been going for 3.5 hours. It's time to end this. I'm going to zing through as fast as I can. Here you go. Would you ever invest an ungodly amount of time reading Game of Thrones series? Like I said, I've read a few of the books. It's been a long time, though. I would have to probably reread them. And I rarely read for pleasure physically anymore, because it hurts my eyes to be reading constantly. And I read in all of my jobs. So the last thing I want to do for pleasure is they're like this. I listen though now. So I will listen every second of the day. I will listen while I'm taking a shower. I have my shower books that I listen to. I have my cleaning the room book that I listen to. I have my driving the kiddo around town book. I just have different, that's how I consume it now. Which, speaking of which, if you have not heard, Audible has been doing some pretty shady things to screw over the authors, and I am considering it, and I would highly recommend researching it and making a decision for yourself on whether or not you want to support Audible anymore. But they're not being very good for writers, especially newer, smaller writers, rather than like big guys like, Brandon Sanderson. I don't want to sit on here and tell people don't do it, but I'm certainly thinking for myself, I might not continue with Audible just because I don't agree with what they're doing. Anyway, let's see. Would you ever invest in an ungodly amount? Oh yeah, I already answered that. I would love to. It's very sad that there isn't. If there's a completion to the story, absolutely. If there's not, I may just if I have time, Let's see. What book? I don't know what you're talking about, Jean Valjean, Apollo Valjean. I don't read many books. Raiders in. I liked Glass. Yeah, it's fine. Totally fine to like Glass. What is that face making? Is it looking to? Is that a like? I liked Glass. That's what that looks like. Totally fine to have liked it. I mean, I like lots of parts. Like, I love that you can't really see what's behind. I forget Mr. Glass when he's like wheeling away, but you can tell some bad stuff is happening behind him in the blurred out background. I like that. Gosh, I just love the way that Shyamalan films his movies. He's one of the only filmmakers today where you could show me a 5-second clip from any part of one of his movies, and I would know instantly that is a Shyamalan movie. One of the only filmmakers out there right now. And I know that oh, that's all about cinematography. He's the one directing the cinematography. You can tell he likes a particular style. I really, really love his work. It's not perfect, obviously. It's got some major flaws. I don't care. I think his stories are great. I think that he accomplishes what he's trying to accomplish. And I know people like, oh, Village was terrible. I loved The Village. I didn't think that the twist was all that bad. I don't know why people think it was terrible. I thought it was great. Let's see. Jaden Lamb. It Follows is about a curse passed through sexual intercourse where an entity thing always walks towards you. Don't want to spoil it too much. Apparently, there's a sequel coming out. There was some book series that I read about this couple discovered some sexually transmitted disease, and it inhibits violence. Like what it stops you. It's basically would put an end to all violence in the world. And so between the two of them, they decide to go out and bang as many people as possible. And then they discover that after they have done this, after they have set the wheels in motion for it to spread across the whole world, they discover that it's fatal. There's the spoiler. It's a very short book. I was like, I picked it up because the cover was so weird looking. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. Red Dead Redemption 2. I like reading 4 books in my 45. You've read about 4 in your 45-year-old life. Try audiobooks. You can get a lot for free on YouTube. And actually, I think YouTube is probably the future for audiobooks if they stop screwing over creators. But anyway, and I was not mistaking Amazon or Audible for YouTube or YouTube for Audible. They're both kind of screwing people over. But I think that YouTube might be a better opportunity. If you don't mind listening to commercials, you'd be supporting, I think, the creators more, possibly more than what YouTube does. Or the other one. You know what I mean. Let's keep going. Dimitri. One not about revenge, maybe different themes. Oh, a story in The Last of Us. You'd like to see another one. Maybe not about revenge. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Well, remember the first one was not about revenge. It was about redemption and healing. So I like that. The first game, that is. Yes, it is me, Ty. Diamond A is... Are you Ty? Is this Ty? If you are, tell me where you are right now in the world, and I will know it's you. Jaden Lamb beats me. I don't know what you're talking about. Aliens is a lot different from Alien, but fans love it. Part 2 failed not because it was different, but because of what it did to Joel and Ellie. I agree. I think that, but no, it's also the structure of the story. It's very bizarre. Not retroactively explaining character development is very tricky and almost never as effective as chronological story layout. Streamlined story. I actually did watch Andor. Oh, good. I hope you liked it. Dare Bloody. Maybe look into limited series to look at or specific episodes of series you may get recommended. Limited series. I mean, if somebody recommends a show to me and it's only like 6 episodes or something like that, yeah, I'm into that. I like miniseries. I think there should be more miniseries shows out there than there are. Hawksmore says, it's boring if I just sit in front of my bookcase and talk. She says, sitting in front of her bookcase and talking to us. This is not my bookcase. This is my, I got it from Cost Plus World Market. Except I didn't. I got it from Facebook Marketplace. I don't like playing full price for stuff. If I can get it for like used half price, that's me. Especially if it's just a piece of furniture like that. I mean, maybe with a couch, I might be a little more tricky, or not tricky, selective. But my first couple of couches have always been used. I'm so cheap like that. Time to end it, Amber. No more stream. Okay, you're right. Holy moly. Wait, hang on. Silence Game. Love ya and take care indeed. Dare Bloody. Thanks for the stream. Well, thank you. Jaden Lamb. GGS. I don't know what that means. But holy moly. Who is this? Rafael Carvalho. I don't know who you are. But wow. Thank you for this. Holy moly. I don't know what 54R is. What is an R? What is an R? I don't know what that is, but thank you. It's in the gold tier, so I know it's one of the higher level tips, so thank you for that. I just got here. Heard you've been live for a while. Yeah, 3.5 hours now, so I'm about ready to check out. Just wanted to say that I really like your content and look forward to more. If something is wrong, English is not my main language. Is it? It's not. It couldn't be Russian because your name is not Russian. Looks like, are you in Spain? Portugal? I'm not sure what Rafael Carvalho is, but gosh, thank you so very much. And I'm glad that you like the content. I'm very happy that people are enjoying it. Brazilian race, about $10. Well, thank you very much for clarifying that, Summit. And yeah, thank you, Rafael. And like I said, I'm very glad that you've been enjoying them. I hope that I can keep making videos that you like. I do my best. And remember, if you like something that I don't, it doesn't mean that what you like is terrible or is not worth loving, or that I think you're weird or anything for liking it. I like plenty of garbage. The other day I watched, not the other day, a couple weeks ago, I watched Beauty and the Beast from the 80s with Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman. Oh my gosh, I do love that show, but boy, is it cheesy. So cheesy. The first season's great. Second season is weird, but there you go. I like something that's terrible. Love it, but it's terrible. Let's see. Jaden Lamb says GGS means good game. Oh, I didn't know what that means. Good night. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome, Jaden. And thanks for being here and participating. Apollo says, oh, geez, they're a competition now? A competition for what? Competition for what? I don't know what you are in your own world, man. We're going to have to, you're in my Discord. We'll chat more if we need to there. Can clarify some things. Raphael, again, thank you. This is your second gold level tip for the evening, and you've only been here for like 5 minutes. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Let's see. What do you got? Wait, I've lost my spot. Where am I? Oh, here we are. Okay. Thank you. Brazil, wish you and chat a great week. Wish you a great week too. Mr. Fan of Gem. Good night, Amber. Have a good one. Good night, Mr. Fan of Gem. You have a good one too. Lori, thank you. Have a great week. You as well, Lori. Great to have you here. Valjean, some guy with $50. I don't know. I guess it's Brazilian. I forget what it was called. I'm unfamiliar with Brazilian currency. But yeah. Let's see. And Walt69, GGS is the plural of GG. Got it. Good game. Good game. Good game. Silence Game says good night. And with that, I'm going to end the stream. So long, everybody. Have a great week and be good to yourself. There's that one too. How do I get out of here?
Please like, subscribe, and comment, even if it's just with an emoji. It's a free way for you to support the channel, and for me, it might bring in some money from all the commercials they keep putting on my videos. Or if you're feeling super generous, check out my Patreon or Ko-fi. I've got links in the description, or you can hit the Money Heart Thanks button down below.